Hello, everybody. It is I, Brian the Pirate, and I am joined today by a new member of the podcast. We had to get rid of Pulp Fictionally, and now we have Mrs. Kevin. Mrs. Kevin, how are you doing? welcome to the podcast. And of course,
fuck that bitch, Pulp Fictionally.
we had to get rid of her. She was appearing in jail far too often, so we've got a replacement, Mrs. Kevin. And of course, I'm joined by the fuzziest peach on the planet.
It's me.
It's me.
Peachy Pixelate.
Peachy Pixelate. So before
I have no buttons today, Brian.
No
well,
buttons.
That's a lie. I do have some buttons.
Oh, so no sirens or anything.
No sirens, but I do have something such as game show music.
Ah.
Game show music.
I like how it's
porno
you.
music. Porno music. And exciting anime music. It's theatre of the mind, Brian.
Did Safi have these already recorded, or have you recorded them while you're there?
Literally just recorded them.
All right, fair. I was kind of like hoping like the headcanon was going to be like, yeah, she's had them for ages and she just likes having your voice.
She's
just like,
using them herself.
no music. People
I really
like,
do
"Who's that?"
appreciate that. The porno music.
If we're like chatting on Discord and she's like, oh, I gotta go and get changed, and she'll walk away, and I will just spam that my stock porno music until she comes back and shouts at me and tells me I'm a horrible person.
See the nodding in the background. I think it's majestic that we've just got Safi in the background, like, hi, just like, I exist, I'm alive. Bless you.
So she fell down the stairs not so long ago, and she's in a lot of pain, and I've come to look after her, and yeah, she's in a lot of pain, so she's on pain meds and rest.
Yeah,
while I do all the things like fix this chair
She looks
and this
like
computer.
she looks like an angel back there with the lighting.
She is an angel.
She is an angel.
There's a little halo around her.
Yeah.
So just before we start going to the topics, just a couple of things to cover. Apologies that I said the wedding was during TwitchCon. In my head, it was at the same time. I don't know how it got into that.
No, it's fine.
I thought they were at the same time.
I saw that on Twitter and I was like, thanks. It's
next week. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, kind of thing.
When Brian said it in our private Discord, I was like, oh, I'm a bad person because I forgot. I thought it was next week. And then Pulp was like, thanks, boys,
Next
but
week.
it's not right now. And I'm like,
The dog just got upset. Was like, how dare you?
Sorry, Ray. Leave me alone. Yeah, my bad. No one corrected me until after the fact, so I was just like, okay, I take full responsibility. So that was entirely my fault. Either way, I think it was probably necessary because it was a week before your wedding, and I imagine quite stressful. So I think it was a good choice either way. For those who are watching from the States, you'll notice this episode is at 2 p.m. whatever the time zone is in LA.
Yes. And I deeply apologize to everyone for saying 1 p.m. today because I kept thinking, I don't know. I got all confused with the I didn't even know.
To be fair, it wasn't your
Daylight
fault.
Savings time for you guys was a week prior. I had no idea until today.
Yeah, so
I didn't even know the clocks had changed because everything I have is digital.
everything's automatic now, yeah. But in the UK, I don't know about the rest of Europe, but in the UK, the clocks go, is it back? Yes, back.
It's back an hour, yeah.
On the last Sunday of October, so that was the 29th for us. Whereas yours don't go back until tomorrow. So future episodes will be at 1 p.m. as normal, but this week, because of the two time zone or the time zone changes on 2 different days, there's this little no man's land in the middle where they don't sync anymore. So yeah, so apologies for that as well.
There's that. It was a miscommunication on my end too because I was entirely unaware.
I mean, to be fair, I just completely forgot that it's on a different time. So you're completely innocent of this. You showed up on time. If anything, it's just
I was
in
the call by myself for like 15 minutes, and I go in the Discord and I type out like, "Is anyone else coming?"
It's like I'm alone.
Yo, boys, where we dropping?
Because at first I looked at this Discord, I was like, why is she now early? And I'm like, oh fuck, kind of thing. Time zones, like because I've got the time zone, your time on my stream deck, so I go to that and I'm like, oh shit, it's actually 1 o'clock where she is. But yeah, it clicks.
Brian's just dropping the ball everywhere. Gets the date wrong, my wedding.
Everything.
Forgets to tell me about daylight.
I can't be trusted with time, basically.
I guess not.
But we're here and we're happy. And speaking of wedding, Pulp.
Yes.
Tell us about the beautiful day.
It was great. It was on the Queen Mary on the 28th, which was Saturday.
Right.
Also that same weekend was Shacktober, which was a hell of an event that we saw. We got to go on.
What is Shacktober?
I have no idea. I was tempted to go.
I don't know. I was getting married.
I was too busy. I would have loved to have gone over there to go find Shaq because one of my bridesmaids dropped out 2 days before,
Right.
and I was telling Kevin, I was like, let's go to Shacktober. Let's go see if Shaq's actually DJing there. Maybe he'll actually fill in.
So Shaq, the previously basketball player, right?
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was like wooden shacks or something.
No, it's Shaq's event. It's like it looked like a rave to me.
Right.
So it's like a Shaq themed Halloween carnival. We're not sure if he was actually there, but it was worth a shot.
Right.
But instead, we went on a ghost tour the day before. With all of us were. Quite a few of us were a little inebriated, so that wasn't really the best.
That's the only way to do ghost tours, to be fair. You've got to be a wee bit sozzle, don't you?
Well, when you have like family there too, so it's like some of my friends, had a few.
Right.
And, but we had instead of doing like bachelorette parties, we did like kind of like a co-ed, like we just like partied the night before with all of our friends, and then the next day, we got married on the bow of the ship. Is it the bow? Yeah, it's the bow of the ship. It was at 6 p.m. It was actually a blood hunter's full moon rising when we said our I do's. It was pretty dope. It was very metal.
That's cool.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. We've got a couple of pictures that were provided.
Yeah, none of the photos from the photographer have come back to us, so I was only able to share with you guys what I shared on
social medias.
On social media, including I did the Titanic pose for everyone except I was the Jack.
Now I am the Jack.
I am the man.
Yeah, we've got a couple of pictures. How was the actual day then? So like was it in the morning, did you say?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So at the harbor where the Queen Mary is.
Your dress is magnificent, by the way.
Yeah,
thank you.
Cute.
Thank you very much. I lost my garter. I was really bummed about that. I left it in the room. We stayed in the Churchill suite. So there was a big portrait of Winston Churchill, like right in the middle of it. It was bigger.
Oh,
it was bigger
honeymoon
than
night. Yeah. Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
I cannot arrive unless I see a big picture of Winston.
Oh,
okay.
There were so many hidden compartments in this room for his whiskey. Like everywhere you looked, there was several. Like there was 2 or 3, like just hidden cabinets. That man drank.
He did.
We did not take a blacklight to it. I wanted to.
No, that would have been a terrible idea. Like, wait, why is the room all white? Like, or glowing blue? Something's amiss here.
Yeah, we all knew Churchill fucked.
But not his wife, if any of the quotes are to be believed.
Yeah, that was so. That's like the front of the boat, and the reason why I had to, or we were at the back. We were at the back of the boat.
Back of the boat.
No, I know. I thought it was the front of the boat. I'm entirely wrong. It was the back of the boat.
Back of the boat.
And so the harbor it shares with the Carnival Cruise Lines. So when the Carnival cruise leaves at 5, so that's why we had to go at 6. Otherwise, you're just gonna have like a bunch of people, boat sounds and everything.
Right.
It would have been really like distracting.
Yeah,
and so cleared it up. And then
do you
we had
take
some
Kevin
boat
to be your
come
husband? Yeah, it would have been very, very awkward. Sorry, continue.
Oh yeah, and then there was this other boat that came out with like we have no idea what he was doing out there with just spraying water in all directions. So you could kind of see it in the back,
right,
behind my maid of honor. But it was a really great day.
And was Shaq at your wedding?
No, unfortunately, I could not find Shaq.
Redo. You're gonna have to do a redo.
I know.
File for divorce. Try again.
Yeah, so Shaq,
I think we could still do an annulment and then redo it.
Do an annulment and then get Shaq there. Yeah, 100%. That's the way to do it. Yeah, it looks like it was a very, very beautiful ceremony. I'm genuinely gutted I couldn't make it. How was the evening then? So post wedding.
Well,
as it were?
We went over to the Royal Salon afterwards, which is it used to be a gentleman's lounge,
Right.
so women weren't allowed in there before. And I like how Kevin kept telling everybody like the tiny little beef Wellingtons were a hit.
Beef.
That's what
beef
was one of his
Wellington?
orders. He got
Right.
tiny little beef Wellingtons, and I didn't get to eat. I was running
Is that
around.
not just a sausage roll?
No, beef Wellington's kind of like a shepherd's pie, but I think there's like shepherd's pie is mashed potato on the
thing of
top.
beef wrapped in pastry.
Yeah,
It's like a
pretty
big
much.
sausage roll.
Is it?
Hmm.
To Google, Batman, beef Wellington.
These are the important questions. They will only find the answers here.
Beef Wellington is a steak dish of English origin made out of a fillet steak coated with pate and, word I can't pronounce, wrapped in a puff pastry, then baked. So it is somewhat like a gargantuan
It's a fancy sausage roll.
Fucking big one,
Yeah,
mate.
Yeah, they were
sausage
little.
roll.
We had the little ones. I barely got to eat. I do remember getting a little too drunk.
You were allowed to. It's a bloody wedding.
Yeah, I hadn't been drinking. I've been working out for months, so I took my opportunity to have I had whiskey gingers all night.
Nice.
And champagne.
Bring me the cake.
And then you got ill, which is why you have the mummy voice right now. Or mommy voice.
For those who are not, who don't follow my socials, I've mentioned I have the flu. I caught the flu. I got back and my throat started hurting. I actually streamed on Halloween, but I took it down because I just really wasn't feeling that great. But I thought my voice was just gone, but no, it turns out I caught the flu because my husband and I have had a fever for the past 2 days. I know. I almost said fiance.
Bless you.
Husband.
Yeah, it looks like it was a very, very beautiful ceremony. Like I said, gutted I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been there. But
There's also we did the horror as well.
Oh, okay.
So we got to lift up the chairs.
Oh, right. And did you have to smash the glasses and stamp on the glasses? Is it?
Kevin did.
Yeah.
That is only men are allowed to do that. So
see.
it was a Jewish ceremony.
It seems like you're missing out. That does sound like fun. Just smashing glass.
Just
That
stepping
sounds
on it.
Smashing glass.
That does
And
sound
then-
metal, just breaking shit.
I think half the men at the reception hurt their backs trying to lift Kevin up.
Yeah, because he's not exactly a small man, is he? He's
No, they had like
somewhat of a jolly green giant.
You know the scales where like you pay a quarter you put a coin in to weigh yourself. He like turns back to everyone. He's like, I'm 210 pounds of solid muscle. Yeah, it's like
solid
good luck to
beef
all you.
Wellington.
Solid beef Wellingtons.
Bless him. But Peachy, how have you been?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get married.
Did you not? Oh, okay. Well,
No.
that was the end of the show, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Hanging out. See you soon. Bye.
How have you been doing these past few weeks? Because it's been about 4 weeks since we last were together as a family.
Well, we did we played games together.
Yes, we did do
That's true.
the Turbo Golf Racing. That was actually like, how was it only 12 people on PC?
I have no idea. That game was fun as hell.
Yeah, that game was
Let's play it
fantastic.
again.
Players though.
Yes, there was loads of console players. I'm assuming it's on Game Pass.
It must.
If you've got Game Pass, look, chat and download it, install it, and then we'll probably do another community night at some point.
Yeah, I remember. So I did get Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get Game Pass. It's a scam.
It's not a scam.
They don't want you to own anything. Okay, wait till cloud gaming starts kicking up, and you won't even own the console you're playing it on. Anyway, I got Game Pass, and I tried Forza.
Okay.
First of all, don't buy Forza. It's too expensive. It should be about 50 quid.
Motorsport, not Horizons, I presume.
Motorsport, yes. Yeah. Yes. Horizon is fucking fantastic. It's still not worth. Well, it is now because there's a lot of content for it. Anyway, the driving model is it's very motorsport, but there's no how do I say this? Like, it is a simcade. It's not a full arcade, but it's certainly not a full simulation either. And the breadth of the simulation is there's a lot of breadth. They got like all these different mechanics working together, but the depth of the things they're simulating is it's like a puddle. Like it's as wide as a lake with like suspension, floor, the grip, tires, all of that is there, but it doesn't go very deep. But it's good. It's pretty good. If you want to play that on a wheel, buy something else because it does not work very well on a wheel at all. Even though there are tons of things to alter, if you've got a wheel that, 50% of people using wheels have, it should probably work.
Right.
And it doesn't. It's horrible. It's fine on controller. I think it's fine. The game's fine. It's just $10 too expensive.
That's fair. You got World Rally Championship coming out. Like, is it this week or next week or something?
I think it's out now. I think it might already have come out maybe today or something.
That's fair. So if you're a sim fan, that's the way to go. So
well, that's not a sim either.
Is it not?
No, that's definitely a simcade.
Oh, okay. Fair.
WRC. Sim players can play it and have fun. Arcade players can play it and have fun. It's a thing in the middle. It's like those are different types of racing games, and I like them all. From like hardcore like iRacing stuff, although iRacing, let's not get into that. From those types of games all the way up to Need for Speed. I like everything in between. I think it's to me, it's not one genre. It's, you got your arcade stuff, this like simcades, your car PGs like F1, and then your full simulations, Assetto Corsa and all that kind of stuff. I think they're different genres, but if you enjoy any of those, you will get enjoyment out of the others. Right, you know what I mean? Right. But yeah, that's also a simcade, but it does look really good, and the reviews seem to be really positive about it. So I think I do want to try that one.
That's fair. I would if I had like a wheel with force feedback. I have been looking into get a second-hand one because like I do noticeably enjoy and perform better when there's some form of force feedback as opposed to
it is so much more immersive using a wheel.
Yeah,
and you do have more control and more precision. But obviously, if you're playing an arcade or a simcade, you don't need that precision, but the immersion can be fun.
I think for more, it's the literal feedback. Like obviously if you've just got a regular wheel without any kind of force feedback or controller without any kind of force feedback, if you're going onto the off the tarmac and things like that, or like pulling into a corner, you've got nothing to tell you other than what's visually on screen.
Not 100%. Like I know what you mean, but that's not 100% accurate.
I'm speaking for me to be clear. Like I've just noticed
controllers, haptic feedback on modern controllers with games that do it well are actually really good. Like F1 does controller feedback really well. I prefer it on a wheel. Forza Motorsport does it pretty well on a controller. I think it's the best way to play it at the moment until there's a patch for that. Right, so they just need to patch the wheel, and the price needs to come down. Although I do think there was a sale on for a couple of percent somewhere. I can't remember, but it is worth a 50 quid for sure.
Yeah,
it's just not priced at that at the moment. So
that's fair. Also, hi Ray. For those who are listening, Ray is on screen and is adorable.
God damn, he is.
Did you say, "Oh, little dog"?
She was being a little testy before we started recording. That's why she's in my lap.
Oh, that's it. Always appreciate free dog on screen. But
yes.
Let's jump into one of our first topics. It starts with a bit of a sad topic. Layoffs. Layoffs everywhere.
More layoffs.
Yes, more layoffs. There's been a couple recently. The bigger or more centric in the news is the Bungie layoffs. There was also another one that you noted down, Peachy, as well. I can't remember which one it was. We have a look.
People are, I mean, last episode was the layoff.
Oh, it was it was Bandcamp. Epic laid off a bunch of people from Bandcamp before selling it to Song Trader or whatever they're called. And so, unfortunately,
they just flipped that, didn't they? They just flipped it on the market and carted it off.
Yeah, like
disgusting.
They only had it for like a year or something like that, wasn't it? Something silly like that. But yeah, unfortunately,
they were doing good things with it as well. But all they were doing was like, oh, let's just make this so the number go up and we can sell it.
I think
they literally just flipped it on eBay. That's what they did.
I think they did intend to do more with it, but it was more to do with like the same reason why Epic laid off like I think those 900 people or whatever, 16% of their workforce or whatever it was. It was like something that they wanted to dabble with, and then the shareholders were like, oh, projections, and they're like, oh, fuck it then. And then they just like threw it in the trash and was like, someone buy it. Because I don't think it was a serious project, but I do think it's something they wanted to dabble and explore.
How much of Epic is owned by Tencent?
I want to say,
I assume it is.
It does own a part of it, if I recall correctly. I think it's 40%. I want to say 40%. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know it's less than half, or it was last time I looked into it, but I'm pretty sure it's about 40%. But unfortunately with Bungie, they likewise laid off about 8% of their workforce, which is around about 100 people. Now, the bigger deal about this is literally about a month ago, Bungie were like, we've been missing projected sales, or we're short by 45%. So we're going to need people to like band together, and we're going to turn this around, and we're going to, really, really get things going again. Are you all with me? And the staff were like, yes, we're all with you. We love Bungie. And then a month later, like, oh, by the way, here's an email to say that you've been laid off. Have fun, bye, kind of thing. So that's obviously
is that evil, or were they like, okay, we got to do this, we got a month, and it didn't work? I mean, a month isn't long enough, but large businesses only care about short-term gains.
Yes, I would say it was evil, especially if you include the fact that when Sony acquired them, Sony made a statement specifically saying, don't worry, there'll be no restructuring or layoffs as a result of this acquisition. And then obviously this has happened. Now, yes, you could say, well, it isn't because technically it was Sony, but it is, you would think, because Bungie want to, impress Sony. And like, look at our numbers kind of thing. Oh, sorry, we didn't miss the projected revenue or whatever. And to be clear, it isn't a case of they made 45% less than like a profitable amount. They still made a profit. It was just 45% less than the projected profit. So they didn't make as much money as they wanted to make, but they still made money. So there's that as well. And as part of the acquisition by Sony, employees could have shares at Sony as long as you were there for a year, and then they were classed as vested. If you were laid off before that point, you lose the shares. So all these employees just lost all their shares as well as part of the acquisition. So they actively are losing money, losing their source of income. I think their health benefits last for like a month and a day, and then they just kick out or something like that, or even a day. It was one or the other. They end pretty immediately as well. The people that they've laid off, some of them are quite big names as well. Like one of the composers that was laid off has been there, and I believe was like one of the lead composers for 15 years. So if he's not safe, who the fuck is? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, bear in mind, this company just made profit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They made money, just not as much as the analysts were saying.
Projected profit.
Yeah. So they still made money, just not enough money.
Business is just... When is it bonfire night?
Tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. And Bungie disappeared.
Just allegedly,
for legal reasons. For legal reasons, yeah.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, we're not actually going to blow up Parliament or Bungie, just to be clear. But so yeah, that's obviously irked a lot of people. There's a lot of news that came off the back of it as well. The final shape has been delayed by 3 months, so that will be, I believe, in June next year now. Which means that the next season, which starts in December, is going to be like 6 months. So it's going to get dragged out a bit. Players and industry people alike are obviously not very happy with what's going on with Bungie at the moment. Which is surprising because obviously they got bought out by Sony for being profitable, being the golden child of the live service model. And then obviously the Lightfall, the last expansion, hasn't been received very, very well. So, yeah, unfortunately, things aren't going great. Also, Marathon has been delayed to 2025. We also found out some extra stuff about that. Initially, it was apparently going to be a battle royale. Bit late to the game. I think they realized that, but also noticed the success of Tarkov. So then it became an extraction shooter. Then they had some folks do some internal testing, and the internal testers were like, yeah, we wouldn't play this as like a live service extraction shooter at all. So that's why it's been delayed. It sounds like they're going to redo it from the ground up. From what,
have
from what
Bungie
we're
ever
hearing.
played Marathon?
I mean, you'd hope so. You would certainly
well, it
hope so.
doesn't sound like it.
I mean, it isn't. I think it is a case of like, oh, it's an IP. There's going to be some nostalgia there, and they want the retro look. But I don't think they actually want to make the game.
Me though, like it's people like me who remember. Like, and I don't even remember from the day because it was Mac exclusive.
Mm.
Like the IP, that's not a strong IP.
But it is one they already own.
Well, yeah, but they could just call it Snickers Bar.
Yeah, but if you've already got the
funny
concept
because
and
in
stuff.
Britain, Snickers bars used to be called marathon bars. I'm wasted here.
That
was
true.
really funny, okay, Brian?
It was kind of funny. I'll let you off.
That was great.
Pulp, Mrs. Kevin, was it funny?
It was funny.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
And she's married. You can't. She just got married. You can't disagree with her.
I wasn't intended to. Don't worry. But yes, lots of unhappy news. One thing I feel like we should add in terms of context. A question I frequently see with regards to layoffs is people going, "Why is it all happening in 2023? Why all now around October?" It's because it's the end of the financial year. Is the answer to that question?
Yep.
People
It's
about a month.
literally nothing to do with people.
The end of the fiscal year.
Numbers.
I do think
Horrible.
there are other factors that should be considered. So, for example, one, it all started happening about a month before the end of the fiscal year. That's because they looked at projections. They want to go look at these happy spreadsheets to our shareholders to make the numbers look better. Then, of course, you got the ones happening in October when the fiscal year has already ended. And that, of course, is because people have then had knee-jerk reactions to shareholders going, you haven't made enough projected money, etc. So that's why you've seen layoffs after the fact. But also, I think one of the reasons why 2023 is being hit particularly hard, I think, is because a lot of short-term investments that people in big tech in general, as well as the gaming industry, have made with regards to like AI, NFTs, bullshit like that. So they've hired all these extra people to accommodate for all these extra projects that they've got running in the works. And then all those things went down the shitter. No one cares about NFTs anymore. The gaming industry as a whole, or the commercial side of things, hated NFTs. So they were like, oh, we're going to have to bin those projects. So I do think there are a lot more than in previous years because of these things. But for the most part, it's just
make number go up, even though number is already going up.
Yeah, make number go up more than it did the year before, basically.
It's like cashing a check because, oh, look at all these wages we don't have to pay. This guy, 15 years, right? He's probably got a big wage.
Oh, yeah.
Probably that's a large amount of money. I don't know who else they've laid off, but that's just them. Oh, we're just going to bank this check. Fuck those people. They don't give a shit. It's just about those numbers, and they're just cashing a check that they've got there.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all about the bottom line for
It's
them.
horrible. Oh, God, I hate the gaming industry.
I do too.
I love video games, though, so...
I mean, to be fair, that is also not specifically limited to the gaming industry. That is just the industry in general, isn't it? It's corporations.
Yes, but I care about the gaming industry.
Hopefully it's something we can be words are hard. It's something we can be vocal about in the future years, and we can hopefully
short-term
maybe
gains.
turn things around, but we'll have to see.
They're just short-sighted.
Yes, very much so.
Agreed.
Next on the agenda, we have TwitchCon. It happened. It was in Vegas. Saw a lot of people.
What a great idea, Twitch! What a brilliant idea to have it in Vegas. In the middle of the
everyone
desert,
who doesn't shower.
there is nothing.
I mean,
where everyone who doesn't shower is going to reek even more.
Yeah, true. Apparently it was very, very warm. Apparently it was very fun as well. There was a lot to do because it was Vegas, and obviously it's more of a tourist-focused city. But then you were basically knackered after the first day because you'd done so much stuff, and apparently travel was really awkward as well because the Formula One was supposed to be like a week later, so they were redoing roads and stuff to accommodate for that. When We Were Young festival was going at the same time, that same weekend as well. I allegedly thought it was Pulp's wedding that weekend, so it was a very, very busy time. So from what I heard, people definitely had a lot of fun at Las Vegas, but still don't think it is a good convention city. They think it's a fun city, but not a good convention city.
I personally because like Vegas is only like 6 hours, I think. For me, it's really not that far.
Yeah.
And I don't really particularly like Vegas because I associate with like its party, not so much of a convention area. Like I don't even like the LA Convention Center though.
That's fair.
But LA does sound like a better place to have a convention.
LA is absolutely a better place because it's a lot more spread out. When it comes to Vegas, like Vegas is like more people mostly associated with the Strip, so it's just such a touristy area. The LA Convention Center, yeah, it can be kind of touristy, but it's still surrounded by a lot more. And there is like it doesn't feel so claustrophobic, for so to speak. So
the complaint I heard was the cost of like Ubers and stuff to and from the convention center. Because of all the roadworks and things that was going on as well.
Yeah.
Just trying to use regular public transport.
I never like whenever I would go to Vegas, like honestly, like I just walk everywhere. So I can't imagine like taking Ubers.
Yeah, like whenever I go to TwitchCon, people are like, "Oh, where you staying?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just in a B&B, about 30-minute walk away." And they're like, "30-minute walk?" And I'm like, "Yes, mate, I'm British. I walk everywhere." Like,
yeah, right.
That's what I do. 30 minutes is not a long walk for me. That's just an adequate walk. So I'm used to walking places, whereas people are like, "Oh, we're gonna get Uber." And I'm like, "Oh, how far is it?" And they're like, "Oh, a couple of blocks." I'm like, "Fuck off!" Like,
where was TwitchCon exactly? Like in Vegas? Like did
so it was at the big convention center, like the Las Vegas Convention Center. I think that was supposed to be slightly away from the Strip, though. Like I know it's near the Strip, but not on the Strip. But yeah, it's
so I can imagine the travel was because I don't think I've ever been to a convention in Vegas, and I wouldn't actually know. Because like the Strip is just like so like there's no reason me driving anywhere.
Yeah,
you can walk to anything. Maybe like maybe take a bus. I've done that a few times. So yeah, I can imagine that got pretty.
I've heard stories of people saying like TwitchCon itself was great and then Vegas was bad and vice versa, but I've not heard anyone say that everything was good.
Right.
There was always like, oh, I like this thing, but this was terrible.
Well, I mean, because like we were saying, Vegas is a tourist trap, so you have to be like that has to be your thing.
Yeah.
Like as much consistent partying there is. Like when you go to Vegas, like when I've been in Vegas, it's like there's just a certain crowd of people that it attracts.
Yeah.
And if that's not your thing, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. They have confirmed it's not going to be a Vegas next year. I'm one of those people who does
not enjoy it.
Thing is, I would have probably liked it. If anything, because I'm quite a social person. I'm the person who, when I go to California and they go, okay, it's 2 a.m., we have to go home now. I go, but we've still got 4 hours. Like, that's my response. Like, I'm the guy who parties until 6 or 7 in the morning. But I can also see myself being in Vegas, being surrounded by streamers, most of which will be late teens, early 20s, and in the nicest possible way, Americans who are not really renowned for holding their drink as well as, say, someone who's British and has binge drinks since the age of 12 kind of thing.
Which is not healthy and not good. We're not supporting that.
True.
It's bad, but...
I support it.
Yeah. It's something that is very common in the UK, let's say. So, like, I know I can handle my drink, and I don't think I would want to be around inexperienced young people who are fair weather drinkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, well, it's like a lot of people have the attitude when they go to Vegas, especially Americans, where it's like, you know, the same what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, which is not true. That's
Herpes
not true.
comes back with you.
Herpes does come with you. Debt comes with you.
Follows you home.
A bunch of laws that work throughout that
they're
country.
really strict. Like especially like because like there's always going to be people who think that they're going to sneak in drugs to Vegas too, and it's like that's not, they don't like it there.
Yeah,
but prostitution's legal.
Booking my flight, right? But yeah, it's something
they can be protected.
If it's regulated, yeah.
Whatever happens, Vegas ends up on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, they have confirmed it won't be at Vegas next year. A lot of people, of course, hoping it goes back to San Diego.
I thought I saw something about them claiming it might be in Ohio. I saw something about that.
Oh, I heard that as well.
I haven't heard that. I don't know where. Personally, I know
honestly,
Dan Clancy.
Ohio, I think that's a great idea to have it more closer to the East Coast this time. Because, like, I think it's always been like here, at least was in LA. We've had it up north, like in San Jose.
Yeah.
Like and you know, I've been to Ohio. It's actually not that bad, depending on where it is.
Not that bad. Wow, glowing.
I mean, it's the Midwest.
Glowing.
Yeah,
it's very flat.
I know a lot of US based folks have asked for it to be on the East Coast for once. For those in Europe, it wouldn't probably affect prices that much, or travel time. It knocks off like an hour, I think, or two from the flight.
Yeah, you kind of get your flight and you go where
I
you go.
I imagine it would be a lot. It would be a lot more inexpensive for them to host it in a place like Ohio. There's also like I think for people who are flying in, it's probably cheaper to stay there.
Well, I think everyone's been in
It's
California.
expensive to stay in LA and Vegas. Those are very expensive cities.
Yeah, I think
so.
Why most of them have been in California is because headquarters is in San Fran, and their second location is, I can't remember, but somewhere else in California, Southern California, if I recall correctly. But yeah, a lot of people have been hoping that it's San Diego. I've got to admit, I did like San Diego in comparison to the other cities. Obviously, I've done San Jose, Long Beach, and San Diego, and somewhere else I feel like that I can't remember. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it being San Diego.
I mean, probably, because I mean, you already have Comic-Con down there.
Yeah, it's a good convention center.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of convention centers in California in general. Like San Jose makes the most sense because of their headquarters is in San Francisco, so that made the most sense. But speaking from, just more from like when it comes to like hosting the events, it would, and just for like the attendees, it would be a lot more expensive. It also would lend it more for people on the East Coast.
Yeah,
like maybe not Ohio specifically, but like that's what I saw. And I didn't think that was too terrible of an idea.
Yeah, and it is something we regularly see, people advocating it to be on the East Coast, just again to be a bit more easier accessible for those on the East Coast. Yeah, 100%. But there was actually a fair few announcements, so we'll have a quick ganders at those. Did you guys keep up with the announcements, or is the agenda
I waited
until
until somebody told me about them?
Fair. Some of them are kind of...
That's how I found out all the announcements too, Peachy.
Yeah, so some of them are kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, but you were getting married. I just don't care.
Yeah, that's true. So Stories was one of the first things. Updates coming to Stories. So we got Stories about a week beforehand. We're getting some more features. So currently you can't add or record videos like you can on, say, Instagram or TikTok and just automatically upload them. You can only upload clips. So you can't just add pre-made content. So that's something they want to add. Have you guys used Stories yet?
I haven't, but I do actually want to start using them.
I
cannot stand TikTok, but I'm really enjoying Shorts on YouTube and Reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I am going to use Stories, but I would like to be able to go, let me just mess with that here and then put it back.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've used them a couple of times, just like, I'm live, ooh, or here's a clip from a past stream kind of thing, like where I do something in Diablo 4 or whatever. It is something I want to utilize a little bit more often. At the same time, there's just so much to micromanage at the moment. You got your Instagram, you got your Twitter, your Threads, your Reels, your TikToks, your whatever shorts on YouTube are, things like that. Then your actual YouTube videos.
Okayed in the EU or something, because I've got hit with a load of follows on Threads.
I think it's mostly people just migrating from Twitter. Every time Elon says or does something stupid, people go, okay.
So every
I'm
time
actually
he says
leaving.
or does anything.
Yeah, you just get an influx of followers. That's literally every time I go on Threads, and if I get an influx, I'll scroll down a bit through my feed on Threads, and someone will have screenshot Elon Musk being a clown. Yeah, and it's like, oh, there you go. That's the reason why. Off the back of that apparently there's been confirmation that the value of Twitter has dumpster fired. It's gone from 44 mil to 16 mil or billion. Sorry.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I've noticed the sex bots are everywhere. Post a tweet without getting it liked by a sex bot. Mission impossible.
So the sex bots for me have calmed down. Now I just get scam crypto shit.
Yeah, I get that too.
I used to get those. Don't get them at all anymore.
I used to get the porn bots.
Yeah, I've been getting porn bots.
I get both. I mean, there's a lot of porn bots, obviously, but it's one or the other. It's like kind of a roll of the dice of which one you're gonna get today. Crypto scam or porn bot on Twitter.
Yeah, I've noticed a big influx though. It's like every other tweet.
Vegas.
Yeah, it came back with the porn bots. They're following us. Fellow TwitchCon enjoyers. Those porn bots. But yeah, so we're going to get some more functionality for stories. I think it's cool. A little bit late to the game, but what features at Twitch and not late to the game, to be honest. Moving on from that, you've got the featured clips and whatnot. They are also going to be getting more features and interacting better with the discovery feed. I believe moderators will be able to just like, here is a featured clip, and that gets added into the discovery feed. We're also testing a version of the discovery feed with live channels. Yes, so previously people could make clips, but only you, the creator or the channel owner, could go, oh, this is a featured clip kind of thing. Whereas now moderators will be able to do that. Or people with editor role.
Editors, yeah.
Let's have a look. So yes, discovery feed with live channels to see if it's effective to helping viewers find new live streams to watch. So I think what that means is very much like on YouTube, if someone is watching one of your VODs, so a video that you've made like a build guide, say for myself, and I'm streaming on YouTube at the same time, my little avatar will be like, this person's live, click if you want to go into their stream. So I think they're adding that functionality as well. So if you do come across someone's featured clip and they're live, you can be like, oh, I actually thought this was funny. Let's see what he's like as a live streamer as well. New functionality.
That stuff is actually really cool when I was looking at it.
Cool.
It's not quite the discoverability we want, but it is something.
It's discoverability, which there was none of before. Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's been suggested a long time. I know Harris Heller has been advocating for the TikTok-like go through your short form content to get people to go onto streams. They have finally added it years later. It's something that many of us have been like suggesting. So it is nice to see it, albeit maybe 4 or 5 years later than it should have been. Some additional functionality, the ability to feature clips directly from the creation flow. So I think that means, because at the moment you can make the clip, but then you have to go into Clips Manager to then make it a featured clip. Whereas if you create the clip, you can be like, boop, and immediately make it a featured clip. If again, you're a moderator or the channel owner. Adding a button to the Clips Manager to feature clips. So I don't know why it needs a dedicated button, but fair enough. Allowing moderators, as we've mentioned, including vertical clips in the discovery feed. So at the moment, you can, I believe they showed us. So at the moment, you can make clips, but it will be 1920 by 1080 or 16:9, sorry, yeah. Whereas they're going to change it so it can be 9:16, as it were, or vice versa, and things like that. Allowing editors to access the clip editor. So if someone does make a clip, one of your editors can then go in and be like, oh, one of the viewers has made this, let's make it shorter, make it better, and then put it as a featured clip.
Yeah.
And
that's really good. Like editing already clipped clips.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, sometimes timing and maybe you want to give some context that wasn't quite caught in the clip and that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anything, it's going to be for those people who can afford editors in the first place, like actual editors who make VOD content whilst you're streaming. Like your Asmongods, for example, he streams, he doesn't edit any of his content, he just does the streams, and then he's paid people who take and condense it into VODs to put on YouTube or clip content and things like that. So yeah, that's going to be huge for people in that position. Adding improved editing features such as trimming and changing the aspect ratio. So just a bit more than start at this timestamp, end at this timestamp. You can actually edit the clip in some meaningful ways. The next thing they talked about was Guest Star, which is now no longer called Guest Star. It's called Stream Together.
It's a terrible name.
Right.
It is a terrible name.
Before you say that, perhaps now changing the name of Guest Star to Stream Together will actually let people know that it fucking exists, because they don't tell anyone. Maybe people will know how it will work, and then maybe people will use it.
I mean,
no, it's not true, Brian. No one's going to use that piece of shit functionality.
I'm not using it.
Yes and no. So with regards to people knowing about it, Guest Star has probably been the most iterated and like budgeted for feature that Twitch has ever done. Like Dan Clancy, it's his like golden goose as far as he's concerned. He's done loads of interviews and like things after TwitchCon where he's just showed up on streamers channels and done little interviews with them and podcasts and whatnot, and he says that he thinks collaboration is a huge part of discoverability on Twitch, which is why he's been such a huge advocate for Guest Star. So guest star did get promoted a lot in comparison to other features. It is probably the most marketed feature on Twitch ever.
Why is no one using it?
Well, the people that were using it, they even added some incentives to do it as well. He was like, as long as you use guest star, you can probably get me on your channel and things like that. And there were some other incentives as well. But one of the reasons they've changed it to stream together is they're changing the functionality a little bit as well. So guest star was more of a, you can invite anyone from your chat into a conversation, whereas now they're actually essentially making it kind of like squad streams, but on one screen as opposed to breaking it up. They're going to be adding merged chats. Another interesting thing, I assume it's not going to affect things like path to partner, but they're also going to merge view counts. So say if you're there with your 100 viewers and then you get a guest who you're collaborating with or whatever, and you're both playing a game together, you can have it so OBS will display both your streams on one screen for both of you. But also, if they've got like 1,000 viewers, that means that your view count and their view count are 1,100 viewers. So that's how you appear in the discovery feed. So I can see people potentially trying to exploit that, but you know, you might have like, oh, you're my mate. Oh, you're my mod. You've just started streaming. I want to boost you up. Yeah, let's do a collaboration. Here's 1,000 viewers for the next 3 months, kind of thing. There is some potential issues I can see.
I would
with
imagine they're gonna try to make sure to like manage, keep that from influencing like path to partner.
Yeah, I would hope
that
so.
would be, because that would be really
well in the same way that raids don't.
Yeah, raids don't.
Yeah, they used to, and that was why it got changed, because people were like, oh, I'm friends with big influencers who can just dump 1,000 viewers onto me with a raid when they finish their stream. Oh, I'm a partner now, whoop-de-doo, kind of thing.
Raids still great, but you need to retain those people.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then that's how you get... Yeah,
I think not too long ago I had, like, not like a big raid, it was a pretty small one, like decent size, like 40 or 50 people. And I think after a certain threshold, it started counting like the people I was retaining, because I think I retained about like, like half of the people that came in.
Yeah, you have to be in the chat for watching the content for a certain amount of time for it to even count towards you.
Yeah, even though like I hit a peak, like it didn't like my analytics didn't reflect the peak. It reflected the peak that I retained.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes,
which is the way it should be.
No, I agree. I fully agree with that, because I personally wouldn't feel right if I made partner, because like I had one friend who had like 3,000 viewers, raid me, and then like it, influenced everything.
As Brian said, some people don't care.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Well, that's why it got changed, because originally if you got raided, it just went towards your view account. What happens now is if someone gets put into your stream via a raid, the URL in the browser will say something like =raid. Yeah, so if you take that out and then refresh, it then counts you towards it. Did raid just bite you then?
No, her nail.
Ah, fair.
But after a certain amount of time of them being in your chat, they are counted as your viewership.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're ever a viewer and you want to help support someone and you've been raided into them, just get rid of the bit at the end and hit enter, and it immediately counts you.
Do what you want. Watch the content you like. It'll improve.
Yeah, do what you want. But if you like that content, I'm saying if you want to support, that's how you do it.
You'll be there. If you like that content, you'll be there. You'll stick around and you'll count anyway. So
yeah, that's fair. But yes, they've done it so you can have multiple instances, like browser sources within OBS, so you can have one for each guest, or you can just have one master source and then you can move them around and things like that. So they've added a lot more functionality. I think for people who are new to streaming, it's going to be very beneficial for them, in the same way that one of the other features that we'll go over in a moment is going to be something that's it's native to Twitch. You go to Twitch, you want to get set up for the first time, you want to collaborate with people for the first time. It's a very easy and accessible way to it, as opposed to having to go through third parties and using Video Ninja or Zoom calls and things like that. So I can see how and why it's going to be good for the long term. I think. I don't think it's necessarily something I would use, because I'm already familiar and established with the tools that we have now, and because I'm a power user, I think is the best way to look at it. We are very experienced, particularly me and Peachy, as like tech enthusiasts. So we're power users. We know how to get in and learn about this thing. Yeah, tech enthusiasts. Whereas
porno
like
music.
there it is. Whereas someone else who's just streaming for the first time, maybe they were streaming from the PlayStation, had a few friends watching, like, oh, I'm going to give it a go on Twitch. And then they have no clue, but then there's a button going, this is how you do it. On the Twitch website, it's there, it's accessible. So I can see why they're doing it. They're doing it for the long run. What I hope is now that Dan Clancy's gone, look, this is really good for discovery and helping collaboration. We've invested all of this access and knowledge and iterated on it. Now let's do the same for the other shit that we are creating, as opposed to Emmett era, where it's like, we made a thing, you didn't use it, so we got rid of it a week later, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, thanks, Twitch. Cool. Oh, we made a thing. It's really shit compared to the third-party stuff you're using already. And you've told us that. And instead of iterating on it, we're going to bin it.
If this stuff has the convenience, then like the next thing you're about to mention, Brian.
Yes, so customized alerts. So that was what I was alluding to. For those who are not familiar, so non-streamers, non-content creators, most content creators use third parties like StreamElements, StreamLabs, Moxie, I think was one. There's a couple of others that are about, where it creates an alert for you that you can then customize in one way or another via the Twitch API. Whereas Twitch, in the last year or so, have added the means to have their alerts directly via Twitch. It is a bit limited. You can't have it as customized as you can with third parties. Again, it's more something for the newest streamers as opposed to like power users. Like if you go to my stream, I've got a hella like customized thing. Like if you've not seen my stream before, if you play like Diablo 4, Last Epoch, things like that, you've got health globes and a resource globe. I have that for my sub count and like donation counts, and it's all custom graphics that I've drawn and made. So whenever I get additional subs, it fills up the globe as if I'm gaining more health, for example. And like if I get donations, it fills up the other globe as if I'm gaining resources and stuff like that. Because obviously I play a lot of action RPGs. Whereas with the Twitch one, it's like, oh, I can make a funny GIF and it's a cat and it goes woof, kind of thing.
That's the issue here. As like convenience, you're starting, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But Twitch is so behind. They are like 9 years behind what third parties have been doing, and the amount of power their tools have in third party sites compared to what Twitch is currently offering.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple of years before they're anywhere near that.
I mean,
they would have to invest heavily and maybe headhunt some people who made that shit for the third parties.
Yeah, I think it's tough to discuss because of not knowing the inner workings or how development works. I could probably ask Comrade, one of my mods, because he is ex-dev at Twitch. But my understanding is they probably don't have as many developers as we non-employees think they might have. So they have to like work on one project at a time, or they get moved halfway through a project, something like that. That's what I'm guessing, because why else would it be so sporadic and like a project gets dumped and just left for no reason seemingly all the time? I do think like we've already addressed that it's probably aimed at people trying to onboard with Twitch. And once you've onboarded with something, it's very difficult to make people go from one thing to another and make them change. So once you've already got them in, even if you've got weaker functionality, people are like, oh, but it's what I know, so I'm going to stick with it. And, you know, they don't end up moving on to StreamLabs or StreamElements and going all wild. Hopefully they do iterate on it, though.
People who are like, oh, I don't want to change over. Twitch has just got it there, and I just push a button. That's why StreamLabs OBS for a while just exploded, because it was just like, here you go, push this button, it's done.
Yeah, it's set up your stream, it's set up your alerts. It was like, do you want the pretty neon alerts? Yes, please. Okay, thanks. And yeah, it did do it. And effectively, that's what the Twitch one is going to do. It just isn't as pretty, but they have added a lot more functionality. I do hope they iterate on it.
They're going to have to if they want users like you and me to use it.
Yeah, I don't.
All of us, people who have been streaming already.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking to acquire OG users. I think with Twitch being something that's forever expanding, they're just relying on new people constantly coming in. They get into the ecosystem, they remain in the ecosystem. They know we're too far gone. They're like, no, these people who know way too much and they are going to be used to their more powerful tools, so they can stay there. But yeah, it's nice to have everything in one space, especially if you're Twitch, because if everything's native to your product, it means people use your product more and for longer, and you get more money from them. So That's a slightly cynical view on it, but that's. Yeah,
it's also good if, for instance, I don't know, let me just pull something out of my ass. Like, say you're visiting your girlfriend, you don't have any of your stuff. You just push a button and you're there.
Yep, 100%.
That's true. That's true.
Very convenient. More control and insights for ads. So mods can now snooze your ads and whatnot, rather than you having to do it through your chat, which I think is very convenient. Because obviously, if it's something you want to snooze, you're probably busy not looking at your chat at that point. So yeah, it's very, very helpful to have mods do that.
That's actually very helpful.
True.
Yeah. New holiday promotion. So obviously you've got your Black History months, your Hispanic Pride months, Pride, for example, as well, things like that. But it looks like they're going to be introducing more things that actually directly help monetization or affect monetization in one way or another, rather than just like celebrating the Hispanics kind of thing. It's like, oh, we're actually going to, give money to people or give them the facility to get more money. So for the holiday season, they're going to be doing the December version of September. So expect some discounts of some sort for new subs, I would guess.
That actually makes sense that they do that, because I always wondered, like, I mean, September, like, it rolls out the tongue, I guess. Like, it's cutesy name. I always felt like December would have been a better choice.
Yeah. It's the season of giving.
For like some sort of sub. Yeah, because like most people, like, getting holiday bonuses or want to sell, wanting to, I don't know, like, support like their favorite streamers more. Like, that sounds like around that time when they would be wanting to do that.
It's also the best time.
That's awesome that they're going to do a December one now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's also, from, again, Twitch's point of view, probably the best time in terms of how to subsidize it, because that's when ads cost more money. So they're getting more money from advertisers, so they can be like, we're making a bit more on the ads, so we can just discount the subs for a wee bit. So it makes sense.
And it would incentivize people who don't want to see those ads.
Yes, absolutely. Off service conduct policy. So for example, if you are really, really, really dickish to someone on Twitter, that can actually get you banned on Twitch. They've officially added, quite timely with everything that was going on with Sniper Wolf, that if you dox or swat people on another platform, that can also get you banned on Twitch. I'm a bit cynical because technically I'm pretty sure that was against TOS anyway, because again, that would be a form of harassment, and if you harass people, that's an offense. So I think they were just using that as the stuff going down with Sniper Wolf is quite big in the news cycle at the moment, so let's make a point of it at Twitch.
Yeah, it sounds like they're attempted dunking on it.
Yeah, basically.
On YouTube, I think, because I know things like platforms like Patreon, for example, they'll take down your Patreon if they catch you like being like harassing.
Yeah.
Or if you dox. I think doxing in particular was one of them.
Yeah. I do think
actually feel uncomfortable in some degree about it.
How so?
Because it's a bit nanny state, Big Brother 1984, because it's not on the product that person is using.
I would look at it as you are representing Twitch as a platform. If you
they used to tell me that shit in school. Like, it is still nanny state stuff. But the problem with that, on top of that, is they are still doxing people, which is fucking horrific.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you're right, but also a little bit. I mean, it makes me feel uncomfortable, even though if someone is doxing someone, they should be punished for it.
Yeah.
100%, I believe that.
I think they're just. I really think this is them just trying to dunk on YouTube right now for their hands-off approach when it comes to
whiff of fascism
doxing.
For the right reasons. The whiff.
I would
the
argue.
Slightest whiff. I'm not saying it is. It's
I would argue it's not so much comparable to like a nanny state thing, because it's a private company, and I would see it in the same way that if I am aware as a person, as an individual, of someone being a bit of a cunt in another area or whatever to one of my friends or someone else I know that if I would say have a party or have something where they could technically have the potential to be there as well, I would say, no, you're not coming in. I've heard who you are. You're a knobhead. And I think Twitch likewise has that right to say, no, we've seen you be a massive knob on other platforms. Why would we want you on ours?
Because doxing and swatting is kind of a felony.
Yeah, also illegal. So, which I think
that's why it was already illegal, because if you commit a felony,
right,
they're against TOS.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
just
so
when they're like,
I think
oh,
just
I'm
name-
just gonna. It's like when companies were gonna hire you, read your tweets, and go, oh no, like what the fuck? Like I'm over here making dick jokes on Twitter or whatever. And again, this isn't the same because we're talking about doxing and swatting. It's I just feel slightly uncomfortable about it.
I honest to God don't think it's gonna be that like they're gonna be that sensitive where it's like, oh, you're just being kind of a dick on Twitter.
Does it say they won't be that sensitive? Do they give you actual limits for what they're gonna do?
I don't see that.
Don't. That's what makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, it's been in place like technically for a couple of years now, a good 2-3 years. I've not heard of them being like out of touch with it or anything like that, or overly aggressive with it. I think it has always been done fairly.
Historically, large businesses are really good with that kind of stuff.
Well, Twitch has been, to be fair, so that's why I'm going off historically. And like you're looking at the camera, give me an example that you seem to be aware of an example. So share.
About setting rules for stuff that isn't on the platform that you're on, because those places have different terms of services. They have different cultures and things like that. Again, it's horrible for me to be saying this because we are literally talking about doxing, which that's right. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It just makes me feel uncomfortable, and I'm allowed to feel uncomfortable.
No, I know.
No, you can feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm more like I'm a skeptic that they're actually going to be doing like much enforcement of it. It really seems like well, you know,
it's hot right now.
YouTube doesn't do it, but we do. Look at us.
YouTube doesn't do it, but we will. That's what I get from it. So it comes off kind of virtue signaling to me a little bit.
In a way, I'm kind of glad that they made a point of it, because hopefully YouTube will then look at it and be like, oh, one of our competitors is actually directly taking the piss out of us for not doing it.
Showing us up.
Yeah. So like, hopefully it does give them a little bit of a nudge, and like, because they have been very hands-off-ish. I think in the end, after very much being brigaded by the internet, that YouTube was like, oh, we suspended her for a wee bit kind of thing, which a lot of people were like, is that enough? But something eventually happened, maybe because of things like Twitch saying, look, we're making a point of it. That will have some influence on YouTube, who will likewise go, okay, well, if they're doing it, then maybe we should be a bit more vocal about it, kind of thing. Yeah. But who knows? We'll have to see. Twitch embeds, obviously that was a hot topic a couple of weeks ago. They have changed the policy. The actual implementation doesn't kick in until the 15th of November, I want to say. Yes, the 15th of November. So what they're going to do is, if the embed itself is not a substantial part of the website or component of the website. So for example, on Fextra Life's wiki, it's a little diddy box that goes in the corner. So if you're watching on stream, it's like that big. So that's obviously not a substantial component, whereas if it's taking up the majority of the screen, it is. If it's not substantial, autoplay does not kick in.
What we were talking about, like for like tournaments and things like that, or esport events. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they're taking that into account. My
technical guess on how they're going to do it is, if the player is only 300 by 300 pixels on the website, or only takes up X amount of percentage, because you can find that out from the code, then they'll just disable autoplay basically, which means it doesn't add towards your viewers. So rip Fextra Life in it, and channels like it. I imagine they're going to lose a lot of people.
About that,
I'm intrigued to see how that's going to drop their viewer count.
I use some third-party apps that use advertising with that kind of thing, with streaming and stuff. And since we've spoken about it, I've actually noticed, I use Blitz with League of Legends, and they have streams up, it's advertising. And it'll flash up with a button. Basically, they just go, oh, here's the person, you're watching this? No? Okay, well, here's the next person, you're watching this? No? And then move on. But there's a button that comes up, do you want to continue to watch this? Or do you want to skip it? And if you're like, oh, what is this? You can click on it, and then you're engaged. And this is exactly what we all three of us spoke about, to kind of how to make that kind of thing work.
And that's effectively what they're doing.
Yeah.
So there's no autoplay.
There's actual engagement on it then. Which...
I'm very glad they're making that decision. Dude, the new Twitch CEO is definitely making a lot of good changes over the.
To be fair, he's actually doing things.
It's funny because
I'm gonna bitch about everything, but he's doing shit.
Yeah,
it's ironic.
I'm curious if they'll ever bring it back hosting, because I actually did like hosting.
I think people have asked questions about that, because I've seen a couple of the interviews that Dan Clancy's done. To further explain that as well, Dan Clancy, when he first took over, did like a blog at like 5 in the morning on a Friday on like New Year's Day or something, the blog did not go down very well. It was very like, oh, we're making these choices and getting rid of the sub split and things like that, and people really didn't like him off the bat kind of thing. Then he basically was like communicating directly with content creators, getting feedback directly from them. And apparently, obviously, you may have noticed in the past, say, 5 or so years, Twitch's perspective and how they would handle communication with their partners, the affiliates, and their just general users became very standoffish. They used to be all about community and transparency. Let's talk loads and loads. And then for some reason, around about 2017, they were like, no, don't do that. It keeps fucking things up for us. So they just stopped sharing information and all the transparency went away. Dan Clancy was like, yeah, that feels a bit wank. Like we're having all of our partners and stuff saying that's really bad and that's what's putting them off. So I'm going to be a bit more in touch with them. So he has his own stream. He did like a tour in a van. So they set up a van for him to live in and stream from. And he just went around like the south of the US to various like locations and just had meals and stuff with streamers. So there's been like loads of people who ended up in like LA. I think like Ko was one of them and a bunch of them. Ezekiel, he's had meals with him, Harris Heller, etc. to give them direct feedback. And he's then taking that feedback and pushing it into other products and things like that. And his approach, he was told by his legal team, they were like, oh, we really don't want you to like do this. We want to screen questions beforehand, you know, get legal to check over it. And he was just like, nah. So he just started doing it. So like he streams from his house with an Elgato webcam, an Elgato mic and stuff. He's like, oh, I just heard that was the good stuff to get, so I set it up and now I do streams all the time. So after there's like a big event, obviously not at TwitchCon because he was at TwitchCon, but after like a big announcement event that Twitch may host on their main channel, he goes live so people can just ask him shit, viewers and stuff. So
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, so he's turned the perspective or how people saw him very, very quickly. And I would argue in terms of marketing, Dan Clancy is the best thing to happen to Twitch because he has changed the perspective of how people see Twitch so much in the last year. Because people thought it was a sinking ship, and he's turning things around quite well.
People became really disconnected because they were just being like, no, we're not, shut up.
Yep, 100%.
And now there is someone who's actually streaming, who's like, how much info is he going to pass now? Because he's just doing the thing of just inconsequential shit that people don't think of if they're not streaming every day, etc.
He also doesn't look like a CEO. Have you guys seen him?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all.
Yeah, he looks like he's probably someone from the Bay Area.
He looks like he likes to wear Tommy Bahama.
Yeah, you very well may do. You very well may do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Dan does. I'm always going to be a little bit dubious because CEOs are going to CEO, but it does seem like he is someone who's actually passionate about. He doesn't feel like Amazon, I think is what I'm trying to say. He feels like
no, he doesn't.
He feels like Twitch. He doesn't feel like Amazon. So hopefully some good things will come.
We have to bear in mind that he is those things.
He is, yeah. He doesn't feel like them, though.
But I'm skeptical about all that kind of crap anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will fully admit he is actually.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Something.
I'm pleasantly surprised by him.
Yeah, likewise. The last update they did, probably the biggest and hugest in Twitch history, is simulcasting policy updates. So we can stream on whatever the fuck we like now. It's lovely. Unless you've got an exclusivity contract, like Co-Carnage has. He can't. He's on dropped frames. And they can't stream drop frames on YouTube because he's one of the guests, and that counts as him creating content, even if it's not streamed on his channel. So yeah, but it does mean because previously they changed it so you could stream to Instagram, TikTok, basically not things that are dedicated streaming platforms. So you couldn't stream to YouTube, and that was changed about 6 months ago, I want to say. And now they've said, you know what, we get it. Discoverability is shit, so stream to everywhere else, get them discovered there, and then bring them over to us. So there are some caveats. You can have third-party apps that merge your chats together for you as a streamer to view on your own PC, but if you're someone who likes to display your chat on screen, you can't display the other chats and stuff like that. Harris Heller,
I thought you can, because that's what I've been able.
You're not allowed to.
The only thing I don't like is so far, at least because I've used StreamLabs, I'm sure it's different with OBS. Because there is a multi-stream feature for like the chat. God damn it! The dog outside is like riling my dog up a lot. I don't.
All good.
It's a pit bull. She's been quiet all day. So anyway, when I have the multi-stream up, so I can look at both YouTube and Twitch chat, none of my my Twitch alerts pop up. It's just people's chat. So I have to have like 2 chat windows instead that I pull up.
Yeah, so you can use an app. So you can use third-party apps to make it one chat for you. But if you like having your chat on screen so other people, so your viewers can see the chat, or if you make YouTube content, again, using Asmongold as an example, he usually has the chat in the bottom corner. So people who are watching the videos can see how his chat is reacting on YouTube as opposed to like being in the Twitch chat. So if you've got it on screen, you're not allowed to use the merged chat. I had suspicions as to why. Dan actually confirmed them in a interview with Harris, and it was basically the first reason was the weaker reason. Oh, we don't really want to like merge the experience and confuse the viewers if they're seeing things on screen that don't match with their actual chat, and it might confuse people, stuff like that. The other reason was TOS. If someone on YouTube chat decides to be a complete knobhead and say like the N-word or something like that, Twitch can't ban that person for saying the N-word in your chat because it wasn't in your Twitch chat. Therefore, the responsibility is on the streamer. So if someone on YouTube tries to troll you, says the N-word, and it shows up on your screen, you get punished for it. You. Yeah. So that's why they were like, don't do that kind of thing. I don't think it's something they're going to actively enforce. I don't think unless you get mass reported, they'll be like, oh, Pulp's got YouTube chat showing on her stream. That harlot, how dare she, kind of thing, and then come after you. But if you're like, oh, the N-word showed up on my screen because someone said it in YouTube chat, they'll be like, yeah, sucks to be you, bye, kind of thing, and then ban you, kind of thing. So yeah, it's not something that they're going to probably proactively like hunt you down for. There won't be any witch hunts, but it does mean that you are solely responsible for things that happen. So they've made it a rule to obviously prompt people to not do it. So that's one of the things. Also, you can't technically stream at a lower quality, even though most people are going to because YouTube supports 4K and AV1 and whatnot. So they were like, oh, you can't have Twitch be the weaker looking stream compared to, say, on YouTube. So if you're streaming on 4K on YouTube and 1K on Twitch, technically Twitch looks like the crappier product. So people would be driven to YouTube. So technically you're not going to do that. People are going to do that because they've got the means to, and why wouldn't you? But again, it's probably something they've put out there to de-incentivize people to do it, I think is the best way to phrase it.
Yeah.
But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to cover before we go to break?
No, I'm good.
Not from all that.
No, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a quick break, about 5-10 minutes. Go get yourselves a drink, stretch your legs, and we'll play some music. And mics, of course, as always, will be hot.
Legs are hot.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of the Fully Rendered podcast, episode 19. Next episode, episode 20. Exciting news.
20.
I've got so much work to do. Like, I've had to put it off.
Oh, yeah, we should do an announcement on the 20th.
Yeah.
For no reason.
For no reason. But keep your eyes out on the 20th episode. We will be announcing something.
And your ears, podcast listeners.
And your ears.
Yeah.
Keep them peeled. I've never understood that.
Peel your ears
on, guys.
I've never heard peel your ears before.
Oh, yes, keep your eyes peeled, isn't it? That didn't happen. Anyway, welcome back to the second half. My camera is trying to focus.
I don't need to see Cloud right now.
I was going to say, it's like just Cloud on the shelf there.
But, he's so needy.
He is, bless him. Right, next on the agenda, which I can't find, Discord. Despite the fact I have 4 monitors, I still don't have enough screen real estate for everything all at the same time.
I have 2, and I've actually been okay with it.
I only have 2.
Yeah, but
I usually have 3.
So I've got.
I wanted a 3rd one.
So I've got the 4 monitors. I've got the 1080p 27-inch that's plugging directly into the second PC, the stream PC, and then I've got another 1080p 27-inch that has Discord, so I can see the agenda. Then I have a 1440p 27-inch for when I'm showcasing things on screen, so all the browser tabs that are open to show play, gameplay, and stuff like that. And then I've got my 34-inch 3440 by 1440. Acer Predator in front of me, which has OBS and all 3 of our chats. So if I have to like go to Spotify or something like that, I have to open it on one of these screens, which is technically dedicated to one of those things I've already mentioned. So it's like 20 billion windows are open, so I have to hide them and put them in places and make sure that I don't accidentally show Discord or something like that on the bigger
I
screen.
use a switcher box for my streaming PC, so when I'm just on my normal PC, I've got my 3 screens back again.
Yeah, I just have the 2. They're fairly large. I just don't have room for a third right now because Kevin takes up part of my desk.
Right. No,
Kevin!
Kevin!
God damn it, Kevin.
Should have made that part of the... What's that thing you sign when you get married?
Oh, you mean like a prenup?
Prenup, yeah. I want some damn
prenup
desk.
for my desk real estate.
I claim a third of this desk.
Prenup only takes effect when you get divorced, though.
Yeah, could you imagine,
okay,
like,
calm down.
touch
That's
wood.
a little over the top.
Touch wood, it doesn't
Oh,
happen.
come on.
But could you imagine if it was, and he's just like, okay, we're divorced now, just pulls out a saw, like, this is mine. This is mine. He's like, you can't take that. It's got one of the legs attached to it. It's mine. It's mine.
Yeah, Kevin's just propped up right next to me because his computer's over on the coffee table when he first moved in, and something with his GPU or something, like he had an issue with it, and he's just been like, it's fine, I'll just bring my laptop over. Right,
that's fair. So Pulp, you've been playing the wokest of Allens, I believe.
Yes, I've been playing Alan Awake too.
How is it?
I liking it. I played it when I first played it. I will admit, I was quite inebriated.
Right.
So I would recommend no one play this game when you're drunk, because it is very difficult to. I could not figure out anything, like where I was going, and there's no like compass or anything for the map. So hey, look, there's Kevin.
And there's Kevin and his mustache. Hello, Kevin.
Yes.
Mustache.
His mustache. So it has I like how it it's like a little bit of a slow like investigation kind of build, like you're playing as another character. And I just got in control of Alan, and dude, the love and care that goes into that went into this game. Like if you've played Control, which I love,
favorite games of all time.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good. You know how like they had a lot of live action in Control, like they utilized a lot of live action in Alan Wake too. There's just so many like the special effects and everything. Like I'm not far enough to like tell you exactly what's going on with the story so far, but there's a lot of like Twilight Zone-esque feeling, like just like before.
Yeah.
Very Twilight Zone, Twin Peaks. So far, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The gameplay is because I was playing the first one before, leading up to this one coming out, and the gameplay is vastly improved. My only mild complaint is I get lost a lot.
Right.
And I would appreciate if the game had like some kind of like compass or mini map on the screen, just so I knew exactly where the fuck I was going.
Right.
I like the concept because he's an investigator. Well, he's a writer, but you know, it's
so you're playing as one of his the characters in his books when you're playing as the FBI.
Oh right, I haven't watched any of it because I do want to play it in 5 years when it eventually comes to Steam.
Right. I know. I bought it on PS5. Well, Kevin bought it for me on PS5 as a wedding gift. So because honest to God, I could not justify getting it on Epic. I can't stand. Was it Epic?
Yeah, it's Epic exclusive on PC.
Yeah, I can't do that. And I wanted to get it on PS5.
I don't know why I can't do that, but I just can't do that.
I can't stand Epic. I can't stand the Epic game launcher. However, I was also kind of concerned because when I saw the specs come out, I figured it would just be a safer idea just to pick it up on PS5 anyway.
Right.
Because that way it was going to be putting my PC through too much. However, it plays beautifully. I hate playing with a controller, but whatever, I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm liking it so far. I'm going to play a little bit more of it on Monday, I think, because I'm going to take tomorrow from streaming tonight, tomorrow off from hopefully get my voice back.
Right.
But I do plan on playing this through to the end because it's been such a pleasure to play through.
What's the performance like on PlayStation?
I've had no issues with it. Like no bugs.
No?
Oh wait, I did have a bug. I had but it was like I think I don't know. It was like something where like so an event did trigger, but like graphical glitches, it looks great.
I was gonna say it does look extremely pretty, and I
Yes,
assume
it's very pretty.
I assume it's going to be the same engine they're going to be using for Control 2, which is coming out soon. I have heard a lot of good things. I don't play horror games, as we know, but
is it not on Unreal?
It's not that scary. There were a couple moments where like, so you start like in the beginning. It's not a spoiler because it's like the beginning, like the very beginning.
Yeah.
You don't play as either the main chick. Her name is Saga. I forgot her last name. And you don't play as Alan. It's a character from the first game.
Right.
And when he shows up, I was just like, I'm just a naked man,
right,
just wandering around, and I was just vastly confused.
Right.
But there are some like some little jump scares that kind of pop out at you every now and again, which have gotten me. But like, but aside from that, it's not like too spooky.
Right.
I did, like I said, I was playing drunk when I first played it,
True.
where the game was trying to teach me like to stealth past this guy, or like you go into like the past it, and it was like the first encounter. So they're instructing me to stay in the light, and then when they leave, because they can't see you,
right,
just like in the original game. And my brain just did not connect what it was trying to tell me. I just ran straight after him,
right,
and died immediately.
One of the problems, I say problem, it's one of the issues I had technically with the first game was using the torch as like as a weapon. That was novel at first, but then towards the end of the game, you're like, I'm kind of tired of the whole do the thing with the torch to scare off the darkness kind of thing. Is that overdone in this one, or is there a lot more to the combat?
So far, yeah, kind of, because I got to an area and okay, so there's an area I'm in. I'm not gonna spoil anything about like what's story based, but I'm wandering around and there's like these shadows everywhere, and it's kind of like throws me for a loop because I'll be wandering around and some of the shadows will just like dissipate if you approach them, and then others will like full on attack you. And that like I'm a little bit like meh on because I think like a couple times I was like shining my light on it, and someone in my chat who's been playing it was telling me you don't have to keep doing that for all of them. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know which one's gonna fucking attack me.
Which I think is intended, like it's to give you that extra attention to be like, oh, do I need to be worried about this one? Like, don't some of them just like say things to you as well? Like it's not moved, we're fine. And then as you're going past, it's like, Pulp, that mustache kind of thing. What did you do kind of thing? So like I have heard that they can be creepy, let's say, and there's to keep up that tension.
If anything, like I just kind of go like I go through like two modes where I'm like overly cautious, where I'm like trying to use my flashlight as much as I can.
Right.
And it's like I end up wasting it, or I just go, screw it.
Just run through and hope.
I'm just gonna ignore all of them. And then like 3 guys grab me, and I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah. Try and zerg it, and it doesn't pay off, kind of thing.
But there's some pretty cool features where like you have like they go inside their mind or some shit, where like you hit because I'm playing on the controller. So like on the PS5, like when I hit this side of the screen or the touchpad, it'll take them into like another like zone. But apparently, like you could still be attacked. I haven't been attacked yet when I've gone in.
Right.
But you start collecting evidence. When you play as a woman, since you're a police investigator, you're basically building the case on her case board.
Right.
So you go in, and that will kind of give you like, kind of guide you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And then with Alan. They'll give you like sets. So you I'll go to a new area, for example, like just like I'm in a subway right now, and you'll go in and it'll give you like 2 plot markers, and you could swap out the plot marker on those sets, and it changes the whole environment.
Right. Okay.
It's really fun. It's really cool how they've been integrating these kind of features, and I like that you can see there's a lot of callbacks. They reference Control a lot.
Yeah.
Like FBC is referenced a lot, so really hinting that they're within the same universe.
Yeah.
But it's just in comparison to the first game, it's just such a like it's really like they take it so much care in like how they've been wanting to approach the story. And you know, I'm really excited to play more, but I'm not far enough of the story to really understand what's been going on so far.
Right.
Because I also get lost a lot.
That's fair.
A lot of my community have been playing it, and someone said the reason that the ending to Alan Wake hasn't been spoiled for anyone is because nobody fucking understands it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I want to play that because that just makes my brain go, ooh, that sounds cool. Because modern games are just spelled out to you. Everything is spelled out, which is fine. You know, you don't.
Well, yeah, like
always
this
need
whole
a
game,
mystery,
like it's
but
a lot of
nice
stuff is
to-
very ambiguous.
That's I like the idea.
Yeah.
Not every game needs to be like that, of course, but it's nice to have that.
I like
you know,
it because it makes you think, and
sucks, but also, oh, I've got to figure out myself, and I did.
I like it when games don't like have to like hold your hand the whole way through. Like sometimes maybe I might need it, but what like because like Alan Wake and Control like have been like they're so heavily influenced by things like X-Files, Twin Peaks, Twilight Zone. You know, these are like all franchises that they don't hold your hand at all. Like a lot of it's up to your interpretation. I like that they really they utilize that same kind of like, you know, David Lynchy kind of style where it's like we want you to figure out and come up with your own interpretations.
Yeah.
Right.
Like as it is, like I know, for example, like, you know, just like to go off base, like Twin Peaks, like there wasn't really like when David Lynch left, that's when like the show fell off because they started like trying to like solve things,
Right.
and that was not the goal. And that's what I get the same vibe from with Alan Wake and with Control. Like you don't really, I don't really fully understood. Like nothing was really fully like spelled out to you. You kind of had to put things together on your own, and what makes sense to you. So I'm getting the same vibe from this game, and I think what you could do, hopefully, it doesn't take 5 years for it to come to Steam. I do hope that you'll get a chance to play it soon, Peachy, because I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I've actually been actively avoiding content about it
No,
because
good.
I'm like, I want to play this, and then in a little while it won't be everywhere and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I will have to wait many years for it to come to Steam.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, you could kind of see right here with like the on my stream, like just it's not spoiling it, like how she's in the room, just looking up her, like all of like the case like.
A good thing
case
about
files.
Control was not just the way they delivered the story to you, which wasn't like there were story beats. They were like, "Oh, here's the story beat, here's the thing, exposition." But like you said, things are ambiguous. But also on top of that, the gameplay was so solid in Control.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting the same thing from.
Yeah, it's in comparison because I was playing the first game, which it wasn't. The gameplay is very yeesh.
Yeah.
It's very dated.
Yeah.
You feel
it's good. It's fine. It's fine.
So it does play a lot better. Like I said, my own personal complaint is like because I have a hard time like getting around areas and games. Sometimes I personally would benefit from like having like some kind of compass or anything, because I was like stuck. I was in this area and it was all in a forest, and everything was just looking the same for a while, and I was like, "Oh my god, I want to get the fuck out of here already!" Jesus Christ. So like that's a mild complaint on my end, but I do like that how the different approach, because it's not as because I think like the first game it was just like chapter by chapter. Like one thing I noticed, like just like an interesting little detail is when you play as like the chick, she you go through 2 chapters with her, and then it's for Alan, his segments are not labeled as chapters anymore because she's in the book.
Right.
He's not. So I thought that was like a nice little attention to detail. I'm like, oh, so that's not chapter 3 with Alan, it's part 1.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty clever. Like they really play it up. And there is one thing that like in the game that kind of got me. It's like, so there's like came across a TV, and like it was like the Oh Dear Diner, and they did like this excellent live action commercial, and it reminds me so much of like Adult Swim.
Right.
Like it's so clever. This whole game is just so clever.
I think
I'm very pleased.
I think one thing that Remedy has done really, really well is they kind of wear their influences on their sleeve. So I imagine there's going to be lots of times, like you said, where you saw this thing and you were like, oh, that reminds me of like Adult Swim ads. And there's probably going to be other things where you're like, oh, that reminds me of something from Pulp Fiction, or this reminds me of X, Y, Z.
No, it's great. Like I love you could see how much they respect their influences too. Like I like that, you know.
All their games have
like
that.
Control reminded me so much of X-Files when I was playing it.
100%.
Like that's all I just kept thinking. I'm a huge fan of X-Files, and and Alan Wake always gave me Twin Peak vibes, because like you have the Oh Dear Diner, you know, like it's just there. It's this and with this one I get a combination of the two, of Twin Peaks and X-Files, because you have like your police investigation on one side.
Remedy loved Lynch. It was in Max Payne, for God's sake.
Yeah. One thing to add to that, like, not only do they like wear their influences on their sleeve, but they still make their game distinct. Like you don't you don't think of a game from Remedy and
I could
compare
tell
it to
you
another
that
one. You
there's
know what I
not
mean?
a game I played this year that looks or feels like this game, like Alan Wake 2. It could look like it has a certain kind of polish that only like is. I've only seen the only closest was obviously Control. Like it had I love the utilization of live action in games. Like I think it's so underplayed. It's so underused, because you could, like there's these, when it transitions into them, it feels seamless. Like even though the graphics, like, you know, you could distinguish between the two. Like there's one where like you go into like it's like you watch a talk show, and for a second, like Kevin and I were sitting there going like, is this live action?
Right.
We couldn't tell, because the game transitions so seamlessly into it.
That's cool.
It's great. Like, so that's one thing I will give props to like Remedies with, you know, with Alan Wake 2, Control. Like they make a game that feels uniquely its own, and I've never seen any real replication in any other like franchise.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of games that do pop culture references just go, haha, remember the thing? Haha, remember the thing?
Yeah, it's like Big Bang Theory. I recognize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Ready Player One.
Remember that? Yeah.
Where it's just an entire page. It's like, oh, here's a pop culture reference, and another one. Oh, he drives a DeLorean, and it's like, oh, if you know these things, this will strike with you. But the writing is otherwise really bad, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's no substance. Like Remedy don't do that. They're like, oh no, like this is the thing. We're making our stuff with this in mind.
Yeah.
And then every now and then they go,
yeah.
And it's more a case of, if you recognize it, you go, oh, and I see what you did there. Whereas if you don't, you're like, that's just a part of the world, and you just continue with your gameplay.
It doesn't detract. There are games that do that, and they detract.
There's no
from
like
the game.
Like the influences aren't like, like you said, like, oh, do you remember it? Like
it's subtle.
They don't just
you
go,
played this before,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I like it's like, for example, you know, like I said, like the FECs in it is referenced a lot. You pick up a lot of files within the game from the FEC, and it's like, at first my brain, because it had been minutes since I played Control, I didn't recognize it. And then someone in my chat's like, dude, you recognize that? It's from Control. I'm like, oh shit, that yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
There is a little special guest that pops up.
Okay, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
Thank you.
That's good. So basically, from what you've played of it so far, you would recommend, yes?
Absolutely.
100%. Cool.
I think the game is great. It's well crafted. It plays extremely well, unless you get lost in maps like I do.
Sounds like it's another Game of the Year contender of the many that we've got this year.
Dude,
nothing's gonna be Baldur's Gate right now.
Nothing's gonna beat Baldur's Gate, dude.
Which is unfortunate.
There's gonna be a lot of contenders.
But deserved.
Yeah, 100%. Peachy.
I do.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I just wanted to move on for time. You've been
go.
playing City Skylines. We obviously discussed it a little bit, didn't we?
How is it?
Oh,
I noticed you only had 2 streams of it, and I was like, oh.
Well, That's nothing to do with the game. That's just situation, and I had to do stuff.
But
I have been struggling with this since I played it. Since I played the game, I've been struggling about what the fuck am I going to say on the podcast?
Right, okay.
Because, okay, like, that's logically, the game is released too early and is unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
It is unoptimized, slow, it destroys your PC.
Really?
On the other hand, they fucking did it again. It is phenomenal. The simulation is incredible. And I understand why it runs like shit. Because every single, I think they're called pawns, I forget, but every individual person in your simulated city adds to the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the old ones where they'd simulate the city, and then if you want to look at the people you could, and they'd be like, oh yeah, they go here, they work there, this is their routine right now. The pawns are driving this simulation along with everything else, but it's all individual, down to like, oh, maybe this pawn didn't sleep too well last night, so they used a slightly little bit more of electricity, which put more strain on the grid, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It is so deep. And I understand why it runs like it's not acceptable. 100%, I think this is publisher pressure to release this game because Paradox have had a few. Because there was that game that came out. There was a multiplayer game, and I've forgotten the name of it, and that has not done well. Paradox are just having a bit of a time at the moment, and they were like, "We need this to come out because we need actual sales here."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think this. I think City Skylines. Let me just, for a second, if I can, for my own sanity, ignore how badly optimized and rushed the polish of the game was. Let's just ignore that for a second. It's very important, but for a second. I think this is a phenomenal platform for the next 10 years for content, modding, all that stuff. This is a game. Lamplighter League. Yeah, that was the other Paradox game that didn't do too good, which looked good, but I wasn't interested in it, so something happened. Anyway, this is indicative, right? They Colossal Order are a 10-person dev team, right? They're not a huge, massive studio, but their original game sold 12 million copies.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They did something phenomenal, and that game didn't always run the best.
Yeah, at launch it was actually pretty crappy.
Yeah, I mean, after launch it was you know, but I wish they hadn't released it this early, but I'm glad they have because I only managed to get 2 streams out of it because I had a lot of stuff to do, and I had to travel up north as well.
Yeah.
It's good. Oh, all the new things that they've changed and they've done is really good. The simulation isn't like a video game simulation. It feels like someone is simulating a city that you would use trying to design a real life city and how things would work and how that simulation, how that algorithm would work. It is so deep. There is so much stuff there, yet there is a lot missing, which is obviously going to come further down the line. For a consumer, ignoring that it runs like shit, for a consumer, this is a really good game because you buy this one game, and every so often you'll spend a couple of quid on DLC. And if you don't want the DLC, you'll get all the updates and mechanics for free anyway.
Through a mod, yeah.
You just won't get all the little bits, right? It's really good. It's really good, but it wasn't finished. There's been an update which I haven't managed to try yet because I've been away. And I like to see how there was an update about an hour after I started playing it on stream.
Right.
And I installed that update and the game instantly ran a bit better.
Right.
They are working on it, and I think it's gonna, for the next, let's say 10 years. I think it's been over 10 years for Skylines 1. This, if you like City Skylines, you will be playing this 10 years time,
Right.
no problem. But I don't know.
Hold off for a few patches, probably.
But like, I can't even recommend holding off because it's there. Your gameplay experience is good. It's really good. It's just you got to drop down a lot of settings. They have changed some stuff. It does run better, and the bigger your city gets, the more it starts to grind to a halt because of the depth of the simulation. This is a next generation city builder.
Right.
The original City Skylines came out and it blew everything out of the water up to that point, even the King's SimCity, right? And this one is pushing it. It's not just like, oh, here's another one on because I just wanted the same game on a stronger engine that could just run more and just be better, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what they've done. They've made a whole new game, and it is phenomenally good, but it is marred by this optimization issue, which is a big issue. Don't get me wrong, it's a big issue, but I also don't think you should wait if you want to play it.
Right.
It is that good.
I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying.
Someone who is currently in a podcast giving consumer advice, you shouldn't accept games released like this. You shouldn't accept things being rushed out for publishers to meet whatever they got to do, because the publisher
So you
needs
think they could have delayed this a little bit longer?
They should have. They should have delayed this
agree.
longer. Because then I don't have to tell people to go and play this game that is just a bit broken right now.
To give you a bit more perspective, Pulp, the people that have 3080s and 4080s and stuff like that are still running it on
struggling?
like low settings, like 1080 and stuff like that, just to get 30 frames. Like
That's rough.
It's been really bad in terms of optimization. I did hear there was quite a few bugs at launch as well, like some of the AI didn't behave properly.
There are some silly bugs. Everyone was born in 2016 for a while.
Okay.
I don't know if that's been addressed, but there was a thing about stores. We're talking about a big simulation. I think
Humanity just came to existence in 2016.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's because the simulation was for, this is when your city started, so this person started existing then, henceforth they were born then.
Right.
So I don't know if they've changed that. There was a thing with the stores, people, like when you've got shops in your city, they can buy stuff from other, places in the city, or they can buy it from outside the city. There was a thing where the stores would just... There was no limit to what they would buy from out of city, even if they didn't have room to store it.
Right.
So they essentially had infinite stock and were constantly telling you that we don't have enough customers, even though your city is rammed, right? Loads of people. Like, we don't have enough customers because we have infinite product to sell.
Right.
So there was an issue with that. It wasn't the biggest issue. These are bugs that I would expect from a game that's this deep to have. It's just overshadowed by being too early.
That's fair. It is something
but you should buy it. It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't buy it because developers do this or publishers do this all the time.
Yeah, 100%. It is one that I will be playing eventually. I did really enjoy the first one. It was my go-to chill out thing. Like, if I just wanted to have a stream where I put on some like soundscapes kind of thing rather than like bouncy happy music or metal or something like that, and I could just chill out and people and interact with chat a bit more kind of thing, because it was one of those things where you could just like lean back and be like, yes, I've just built a population, ha ha ha, kind of thing. But like, it was just nice and chill, and it was one of those where you would, it was almost cathartic in a way, because you'd just be there going, I've made roads and I've made them in a square pattern, and now I've put in a roundabout and I've made a shopping district and all this, and it was very low effort but still complex to require some thinking, but because it was so low effort, it was just so relaxing. It was just one of those games
it
where
wasn't
like
instant game over because you messed something up, right?
Yeah, it was just one of those games where you can go, I want to distract myself. Yeah, cozy. I want to just play a game that's effortless and isn't mind-numbing at the same time.
If you can wait a year for the mod tool to be finished and made, it's no longer going to be on Workshop. The reason for this, it kind of sucks because we love Workshop, Steam Workshop, but it's so console players can also have the mods.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
If you wait, I don't want to say a year, let's say 6 months, it will be better optimized on I say a lower, but an average GPU. There'll be, I don't know if there'll be DLC out by then, but there will be lots of content by modders. It'll run a bit better. If you can wait, yeah. But if you've got like a higher end GPU and you can deal with turning the graphics down and turning some settings down and stuff, it's so good. It is so bloody good. And that is why I've been fighting with this the whole time. Right. Because I can't tell you, yes, go and buy this game that was released too early because greedy publishers, blah, blah, blah. But the developers have done it. They've done it again. They've made a really, really solid city builder with some silly bugs and horrific optimization.
That's fair.
That's such a shame about the optimization.
If it wasn't for that, like if it was optimized, like even just a bit better, just like, you know, an extra month or two, I'd be like, you just buy it. Yeah, it runs a little bit shitty, but it's fine. You know, it's a city builder. You don't need 60. You don't. Okay, you don't need 60 frames a second for a city builder, but I do want that because it's a nicer experience for me. But you don't need that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would argue that we gave leeway to Baldur's Gate because Baldur's Gate had quite bad bugs in Act 3 and a little bit in Act 2. But because the game was so huge and gargantuan in every facet, people were like, well, you kind of expect it in a mega game kind of thing. There's got to be something they overlooked and whatnot. But because the rest of the game was so good,
are expected bugs.
Yeah,
easily overlookable.
That's fair. Yeah, it's one I'll give a gander about. I probably won't touch it for about a year just to make sure, because I don't want to tar my experience. I don't want to be like, optimization, especially when I've got a 1080 graphics card. So I don't want to be like, okay, I'm having to play this on the lower settings, and then that has an off-putting effect on me, so I don't come back to it as often, or I end up leaving it and forgetting it.
This will give you a unique experience because as the game gets older, the visuals will get better because you can turn up the graphics.
Right, true. Yeah, you can be like, we've seen the new update. Yeah, what is it? Oh yeah, 1440p. Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's improved the game.
I couldn't run it at 1440p.
Yeah, I have heard it's horrifically bad for the optimization. Is it something you're going to be looking to perhaps play, Pulp? Did you play City Skylines? I think you said you did, right?
I think I still I have to play the first City Skylines. I haven't played too many like city builders.
Right.
You have to play the first one, otherwise you won't get the story for the second one.
Bless.
Sorry.
No, all good.
I mean, I have it actually now. I'm looking. I went to go check right now. I have the first one.
There are some mods I miss a lot from the first one.
Yeah, I have heard that they've added loads of quality of life, but they've also taken away some things that were in the first one and were expected. Like apparently the fire services, they just appear outside of the burning buildings as opposed to a fire engine actually driving to it, from what I've been told.
No, there are fire. Every single individual fire engine is not only simulated, but you could find it. Every person, maybe, you know, they have that stupid little Twitter thing that comes up. It's not as annoying anymore. You can go to someone and click on them and find them, and they're not just a person. Like in the old game, you'd find someone and then they'd link you up to, this is their job, this is where they live.
Yeah.
This one, that already exists, and you can just go to that person and they'll be in their routine for the simulation, not just because they've gone, we better send this porn here and there. Stores will do adverts when they open, and you click on it and it'll go to the store. You can go to an individual porn and follow them. You can track them like proper creepy style, and it'll just follow them around and stuff. And every now and again you might go, I wonder what Bob's up to, and you can click on him and see him going through his life, which will change as he gets older. What he contributes to the simulation will change over time.
That may have been one of the bugs then, because from what I was told, the fire engine would just appear outside the burning building, and like people weren't getting out, and then the fire would go out, and then the fire engine would disappear. So that might have been one of the launch bugs.
No, I've seen fire engines driving down the road to get to places, because road simulation and stuff is very important, because they made that Cities in Motion.
Yeah,
I think was their springboard for City Skyline.
Right. Fair.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I just wish it didn't have this very dark cloud hanging over it. Excuse me.
That's fair. We'll blast through the last few topics then. Everyone's favorite game. Is it a scam? Is it real? The Day Before, which might also get renamed to Day World, is one of the speculated other names.
But it's back on Steam with its original name.
So yeah, that's the weird thing. So the US court, or the trademark like battle in the US, was postponed until they had the result for the Korean battle. The Korean battle has been won by Fantic or whatever it's called, the devs. So they've won that one. So now the US court battle is going ahead. But at the same time, very recently, they have actually submitted a trademark 4-day world. So we don't know if that's like a backup just in case they don't win it in the US so they can rename it, or if it's just for another project. Initially, the game was supposed to come out on the 7th of November, so a few days from now, but they, in the last week or so, made an announcement saying it's been delayed to December, and it's going into early access, so it's not a full release anymore.
Scam.
So, yeah, like...
Sounds like a scam, dude.
I mean, allegedly.
Like, the way... I've said this previously, what I think they've been doing is... It got extraordinarily popular from the first reveal trailer, which did look impressive. That's why it got so much like wish lists and whatnot. But I think they probably flipped a load of assets and stuff, and people didn't realize that it looked so good because it was stuff that had already been made by other people. And then they were riding off the marketing to promote their other things, like the travel/teams app that they had, their prop night game that they had.
It seems so trustworthy.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of red flags. So I don't doubt that it's a game and it's going to come out, but I've got a feeling that it's going to come out into early access. There'll be sweet fuck all in it because they've actually been working on other things and just riding off the marketing. And then eventually it might become a good game. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything like what we were originally shown.
I did see a screenshot of when it got put back on. It might have been from Fantic. But they were back on the wishlist leaderboard.
Yeah, I imagine that once they got the store page back, it just reinstated historically, like all the previous.
Which reminds me, I need to take that off my wish list.
Yeah, 100%.
So don't forget to take that off your wish list, everyone.
And to be clear, I don't want it to be a bad game. If I could, I would hope it would be one of the best games to come into life, into fruition. I don't think it will be, though. I think it's going to be a garbage fire. Yeah, like I think, like, I want it to be good. I want every game to be good. I want people to get the game they want, but I don't think we're going to get the game we want at the end of the day. Aside from that, the BlizzCon is actively happening as we speak. I think they're currently having the campfire talk for Diablo 4 literally right now, so I'll be watching that after the stream. They've made a few announcements. I don't play a lot of Blizzard games anymore, so I really only paid attention to WoW, and even then that was like for 30 seconds to get an idea of it, and of course the Diablo 4 stuff. The Diablo 4 stuff... I'm looking forward to
playing Diablo 4.
I mean,
Bobby got fired.
It is a good game. Like, a lot. There is the meme that D4 equals bad. Like, if you go into an action RPG streamer's chat and they're not playing D4, someone will say D4 equals bad, kind of thing, and it is a bit of a meme. And I get the criticisms, but if it's a game where you bought it, you play it, you complete the campaign, maybe you make a second character and fuck around, you're going to get a good 100 hours out of it, and then you go, okay, that was fun. Farewell, I remember you. As a live service game, it's not quite there yet, especially when you've got the likes of Path of Exile for free.
Right.
And obviously Path of Exile 2 looming into closed beta in summer next year. They're going to give us more details about the expansion that's coming in late 2024, around about the time when Path of Exile goes into closed beta. What a coinky dink. It's going to be following on from the story of the first one and talking about Mephisto. It's called The Vessel of Hatred. And it looks like it's going back to Kurast or Travancore. I can't remember the name of the actual region, but if you play Diablo 2, it's Act 3, basically. We're going back to the Durance of Hate, where we fought Mephisto in the previous games. So I'm looking forward to more Diablo, because I do like the universe. I've always preferred that universe in comparison to the other action RPG games.
You just want more Mommy Lilith, huh?
I mean, she's like, spoiler alert, PG, she's dead because we killed her, kind of thing. So, I mean, technically she could come back because of how Angels and Demons work in Diablo universe.
I can't believe you spoiled story for me.
I know, how rude.
The thing I care about
how
the most.
Rude. But it's more of like, Path of Exile's a bit more like Cthulhu type horror, like Lovecraftian horror. It's all I've forgotten the word. Cosmos? Like
cosmic horror.
Cosmic horror is the word that I'm looking for. Yeah, so it's a bit more like tentacle monsters that come from other dimensions and stuff like that. Whereas Diablo is angels and demons, and I vibe with angels and demons. I think it's just cool. You know, that's the atmosphere that I enjoy. So I am looking forward to there being more. I'm apprehensive that it's a paid expansion. Again, especially with Path of Exile, where all DLC, unless it's cosmetics, is free. So every expansion they do, every like seasonal league they do is free. Whereas obviously we've just paid a minimum of $70 for the base game. There's a cosmetic shop. There is a battle pass that is timed, so it doesn't carry over to the next season. And then there's paid expansions, and we don't know what the cost of paid expansions are going to be. Is it going to be $70 for another expansion, or is it going to be 20? Is it going to be 30? Like, I've got a feeling it's probably going to be at least 50, is my guess. Which, yeah, again, when you've got Path of Exile, it's like thousands of hours.
What's Diablo on sale for at the moment?
I think
50?
I think it's dropped down to £50 in the UK. Yes,
that's probably what the DLC is going to cost then.
Yeah, I reckon it will be at least $50 or £50, because we tend to get the most expensive one because of VAT anyway. But yeah, I think it's going to be like pretty chunky, which will piss a lot of people off. But at the same time, the people it's going to piss off are people like us, the capital G's in gamers. Your mainstream audience is going to be like, oh yeah, more Diablo, sick. And they're just going to get on it. Like, we've lost the monetization battle at the end of the day. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a, for me. World of Warcraft, they announced the next 3 expansions.
Oh, I saw a little thing about Arthas, but I didn't see much about it. It was floating around on Twitter.
So I didn't watch a lot because with WoW, it's weird because I'm a BC baby. I played Burning Crusade, I played Wrath of the Lich King, and I got into WoW because of a friend going, oh, try the trial kind of thing, give it a go. But I'd already played Warcraft 3. And obviously, it followed the storyline from Warcraft 3, so I was already invested in that story. As soon as Wrath of the Lich King finished, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done with WoW. Like, I Cataclysm, I played a little bit because I had some friends who were like, oh, we want you to raid with me, so like I played some games. Then we had Legion, that brought me back. I pretty much ignored everything between then, came back for Legion because I was like, oh, cool. Illidan, winged demon dude, he's sick, I like that kind of thing. Let's go back to talking about Illidan. And then I lost interest again. The next 3 is the World Soul Saga, and I believe it's building on the whole story about how Azeroth is basically a giant egg with a titan in it. So I assume, based on the names of them, like I think one of them is called the Final Titan, the 3rd of the 3 in the saga, which so I'm guessing that's about like Azeroth becoming a titan or whatever, perhaps, things like that. So it looks like they are putting a lot of focus and trying to reinforce people that the story is not going to be bad, and it's going to be something that they're already invested in, as opposed to not the most recent expansion, but the one before, Shadowlands. I think that the story there was like kind of like shit on by a lot of people. Like, it was kind of all over the place. So I think they're trying to be like, oh, the people who liked the lore, like, we're giving you some lore that you'll be familiar with, and we're going to write it good. We've got Chris Metzen, he came on stage. So I am actually kind of looking at it and going, maybe I will come back. But at the same time, I'm like, there's like 4 expansions of story that I don't know anything about because I just completely ignored it. Will I be able to like bring myself back into it, or will I be lost? Will it be like a new player in Destiny?
Somebody will be making a catch-up video on YouTube.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
But when it's an MMO at the same time, there's so many avenues.
Content creators.
God bless them. Yeah, my concern is, whilst like for a single player game, I could watch a video and be like, get all caught up on it, like a Souls game, for example, things like that. Whereas with WoW, you've got all the sub stories around it, because obviously it's a world, it's not just one linear story. So
yeah,
we'll have to see. There were other announcements, but Overwatch, lol, Hearthstone, lol. Like, I didn't pay much attention to those, so apologies, listeners, if you were looking forward to me splooging information at you about those, but I didn't give a fuck, so forgive me. You'll have to watch it on YouTube. There's a couple of filler topics we had, quick ones we can blast through. Liza P, despite being on Game Pass, sold over 1 million copies.
That's crazy.
I'm so stoked on that, dude.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy for him. And despite the fact that it's only just come out, they've already announced they're making a sequel, which is...
They've sold 1 million copies. Of course, there's a DLC and a sequel.
They teased the sequel.
Yeah, they've
at
actually...
the end of the game.
Yeah, that's the impressive
thing. It's supposed
thing.
to be Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so they...
Oh, shit!
Yeah, so what's impressive about it is because obviously when you make a sequel, you tend not to announce it until it's been at least in production for like a year, kind of thing. So I feel like they must have had some kind of heads up, or like maybe from internal focus groups and stuff. They're like, listen, this is a good game. It's going to do well, kind of thing. You start the sequel or the DLC stuff now. You're good. Get on it, kind of thing. Yeah,
because there's a post-game scene, post-credits scene. And it's this character that you like interact with a few times in the game. and they talk about like they have like another like subsection of like this like experiment that they're doing, and they mentioned the name Dorothy, and you see her like you see her feet like walk by, and I was like, oh shit,
does she have the ruby slippers?
She had a ruby slippers on, and
cool.
it looks. I'm actually stoked on that concept because
I like dark takes on Wizard of Oz because Wizard of Oz is pretty dark as it is.
Yeah, I have the Twisted World of Oz figures. So from not American McGee, McFarlane.
McFarlane,
yeah, McFarlane.
American McGee. I mean, he would make.
I mean, they're cousins. But
Alex again.
their take the developers of Lies of P, their take on Pinocchio was really, really fascinating. So I'm really excited to see what they do for Wizard of Oz, especially because like I don't think we've seen like a Wizard of Oz game really. Like I mean, there probably has been like in the past. There's
a lot of references to that stuff.
Yeah. It's usually
because we've seen like Alice in Wonderland more than enough times at this point. So it's nice to see like other stories.
If you could buy the first one, rights holder. Sorry, I'm getting annoyed about a game that was released like 20 years ago.
Yeah, they've also announced they're going to words again. They're going to do another patch. They've been supporting the game. They've been patching it. There's a couple of quality of life things.
They've been really on it. I think last time we talked about Lies of P, I mentioned that they've been really paying attention to people's like player feedback.
Yeah. Like the dodge isn't as garbage anymore. You can now
and they help with some of the balancing because like I even said like when I played through it before the patch, like the last big patch came out.
Yeah.
And I was already done with the game, but there was like a few balancing issues that I pointed out when I was talking about it, and they'd already like fixed that.
Yeah. The next patch coming out, they're gonna add the ability to dodge from the ground, so you don't just get walloped on the ground anymore.
That'll be good.
So you don't have to spec into it. It's just a default thing now. They are letting the guy in the hotel, the concierge, he can now sell quartz to you, 2 of them. So you can get upgrades really, really early, quicker and things like that. And they've made a bunch of balance changes. And it's not as heavily reliant on parry. It's still very parry heavy because that's just the game it is. But if you suck at parry, you can at least try and invest more in dodge and stuff like that early on in the game without having to complete half of it and brute force your way through it.
I mean, depending on like the weapon you get, like the weapon I was using, parrying was very good.
Fair.
But yeah, no, I'm happy to hear that, and I'm happy. Like I think I just spoke with someone I knew like who just picked it up too, and like they're loving it. The game's great.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I've yet to play Lords of the Fallen, the new one, but I have been hearing that people are like, if you're gonna pick one over the other, Lies of P is the far more complete and better experience.
Kevin has played through Lords of the Fallen a lot. And I guess like they just released a big patch for it,
right?
And a lot of people aren't very happy with it. Like a lot of like weapons, like people's weapons got nerfed and shit.
Right.
From what I understand.
Like people are always
still have to play through Lords of the Fallen. Just too many games have been coming out.
Yeah, so many, and they're all good as well. And that's
no, like that. That's what I was like literally just saying to him just yesterday, where I was like, the problem is none of these are bad games that have been coming out. It's the fact that there's so many and they're coming out so close together that you're not really fully able to enjoy anything.
Yeah, 100%. YouTube, they're cracking down on ad blockers. Have either of you been affected by it?
I'm really pissed about that.
No, I use YouTube Premium because YouTube is probably my largest area for media that I consume.
Yeah,
I actually invested in YouTube Premium because of the ad blocker thing. That was the only thing that was keeping me against it.
You'll never go back.
Yeah.
It's too good.
It is something that I've always had interest in, but it's more of it's weird because it's probably the thing I would benefit from the most out of any subscription that I have. Like I would probably utilize it the most because a lot of things or a lot of media I consume is via YouTube. But at the same time, I'm poor, so I have Brave. So Brave has an ad block built into it automatically. It's not third party.
There's first couple of months is free.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know.
Like a
Yeah,
trial?
I think that's what I got was like a couple months, first 2 or 3 months for free.
I think mine was a couple of months free, and I just like, yep, I want.
I
this.
just like they kept
I might give that again,
like
doesn't it?
threat. I was like, I keep getting threatened.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those who don't know, basically YouTube now will detect if you have an ad blocker and will say, we see you have an ad block. We're going to let you off and keep watching, but if you keep getting this warning, you will eventually just get, I think it does just ban you straight up, and we're like, yeah, because which is fair. It is breaching the TOS because you do agree to watch ads in exchange for otherwise free content. But yeah,
creators do deserve to get paid as well.
That as well, yeah. And it's funny because obviously there's a lot of people who obviously this discussion came up once when Linus Tech Tips said it's effectively pirating, which it is. Like it straight up is. You're breaking an agreement. And a lot of people are like, no, I should get it
from Linus
Don't
Tech
call
Tips,
me
yeah.
out, Brian.
I mean, to be fair, like I said, I've got
The pirate is calling me a pirate right now.
Yeah, join the crew. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I understand why they're doing it the way they are. And there's a lot of uproar, or at least there's a lot of vocal uproar about it, where people are going, oh, I'm going to stop using it then. And there's actually a ad block company that released feedback on why people have stopped using their ad block. And it's because of YouTube. Like 90% of the most recent people canceling or stop using this company's ad block was because they wanted to still continue to use YouTube and ended up forking out for premium. So it turns out,
and that's just the people who actually do the survey. So there's probably a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. So I have no doubt it is working out for them. People, gamers especially, complain about a lot of stuff, and then they see a pretty trailer and they're like, "Oh, you know what? I'm over it," kind of thing, and they just jump back on the bandwagon, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't use Netflix. I mean, I have Prime, but if I didn't have the video for it, I wouldn't care because that's not what I got Prime for.
Yeah.
Disney, don't have that. Paramount Plus.
With regards,
I mean, I have Hulu, which gives me Max, and Disney Plus. I love Always Sunny. I watch it all the time. So
with regards,
I personally don't watch those. Most of my stuff comes from YouTube. So I was like, do you know what? I should subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I watch so much of it.
Yeah, 100%. One thing to bear in mind, though, it's potentially illegal for them to do that in the EU because of how they do it. Because they have to like do things through their API to
Brexit.
Yeah, well, yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, because the way they have to detect whether you're using an ad block potentially breaches some EU law. So it could result in the EU going after YouTube because they've made it global already. So yeah, that could result in some big court casey shit. Yeah. It's still like being investigated on whether or not it is illegal, but there is a lot of speculation that it is illegal in the EU. And last two things discussed. Capcom have said a major unannounced title for March 2024. Most people are speculating World 2, Monster Hunter World 2.
Oh.
Which I'm excited about.
Exciting.
I'm
That's
excited
not as
about
exciting when I'm going through my head of all the Capcom IPs I can think of.
Dino Crisis? No, I don't think we get that, unfortunately. But yeah,
we should though.
We should. We absolutely should. But yeah, a lot of people
now
are speculating.
I want Dino Crisis. Thanks, Brian.
I'm sorry. There's always that other one that they made that everyone thought was Dino Crisis at first. That Primal, whatever it's called. Is it Exo Primal? That's the one, yeah. But yeah, most people think it's going to be Monster Hunter World 2, which I'm excited for because I did very much enjoy Monster Hunter World. I thought it was a very pretty game. It was my first experience of Monster Hunter. And I'm looking forward to more of that. Then there is
Monster Hunter World, such a good game.
It is a very, very good game. And then the last thing, it's just a very quick one. Final Fantasy 14 have are doing a crossover with Fall Guys. So the Fall Guys event is actually going to be in Final Fantasy 14. I didn't even know people were still playing
Fall Guys.
Well, it's weird because
loads of people, it's free.
Like, yeah, it's like a lot of people play it.
I thought you had to pay for it on like, I think on console. Some people.
You originally had to pay for it, but then it went free to play it about a year ago.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Live service.
Yeah.
That have a lot of concurrent players.
Yeah, they did like sack off a bunch of people. They were one of the major redundancies that got swept up with Epic, so they did actually lose quite a few people. But like I haven't got footage to show, but it actually looks really cool. It's basically like your Final Fantasy character in the Fall Guys like arena, and you're doing like gauntlets and stuff like that. It actually looks pretty sick. So, so if you're a Final Fantasy 14 player, you've got something to look forward to.
I never managed to win in Fall Guys, so I gave up on it.
Oh, what? Rude. You got to persevere.
I'm being told told that the Google Adblock thing is something possibly called DSVGO, which is a German implementation of the EU privacy stuff.
Right, so fair. So yeah, that could get blown up in YouTube's face. Although they might just go, "We've got lots of money," and then they go, "All right, fine." or here's a big fine, change it, and then YouTube go, "No, just fine us in another year, and we'll deal with it." Kind of thing.
Or just tweak that law for us, thanks. We're bigger than you.
Yeah,
we're an entire country. Yeah, okay, good luck with that.
Yeah, we're a global corporate company, eat dick kind of thing. Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk before we do shoutouts?
No, I'm good.
All good.
I'm good. My voice is starting to get really hoarse.
Fair. So,
Hey, I'm Pulp Fictionally, and for Instagram model turned variety streamer. You can find me on all my social medias under Pulp Fictionally, except for Twitter because someone took my name, and that's under Pulp Fictionally. I'll be streaming again on either, if not tomorrow evening, then Monday because I am still currently sick with the flu, and I'll be playing more Alan Wake. Peachy.
Hi, my name is Peachy Pixelate. You can find me right here tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time doing some more Project Zombie. And then I'll be traveling back home. And on Thursday, we'll probably won't be doing Ghosts. We might do. Probably going back to some more City Skylines 2. There's been a patch. I really like the game. Don't buy it, but you should buy it. I don't know how I feel about it still. Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to hit 500 before the end of the year. And I need like 25 now. Ooh. People have just been following. It's all miniature Warhammer stuff. I didn't talk about Warhammer today.
Oh my god. We're going to have to re-record.
Nobody brought it up.
There's a new website, and it's the worst website ever. They really fucked up the website. There we go. I spoke about Warhammer.
Congrats. And hello, I'm Brian the Pirate. Thank you again to my co-hosts, Pulp and Peachy. It has been a fantastic show. If you wish to see more of me, then stick around, because I'll probably start streaming the campfire chat, if that's been uploaded on YouTube yet, to live react to it, as it were. If you want to find me anywhere else, you can find me as Brian the Pirate on Twitter, Threads, YouTube, everywhere. I make content around action RPGs and other variety games, but yeah, that's where you can find us. But that's going to be it for us this evening. Thank you all very much for watching, and farewell. We'll remember you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.